This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Sunset Safari. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is VM, and we are driving around looking for all sorts of wonderful things. Now, Heyman Morris Elementary Middle School, will be joining us. They're just running a little bit late, but we'll take a couple of the regular questions in the meantime until they join us. But then we will be going straight into School Drive. So remember to hashtag SafariLive and chat to us on the various platforms. You can also talk to us on the YouTube chat, which is quite nice. Now, Sydney's on his way towards Chitwa to go to the watering hole there, where I think you'll have a lot of luck with finding all sorts of wonderful things. VM and I are going to, I don't know, somewhere. We're going to go somewhere to find some animals, but it is really hot, like horribly hot. It's like 39 degrees Celsius, but they're lying because everyone else's phone, including mine, says that it is 41. It is hot at the moment. That's crazy. We haven't had this heat for a long time. I have not experienced it for a while. So I can imagine things are either going to be splashing around in the water, drinking water, or standing under trees with leaves for shade. I don't think we'll see too much out and about and in the open, but we'll try our best to see what we can find. I think maybe a little bit later will be better. The wind is also gusting horribly at the moment, so that's fun. That's very wonderful. We know that the animals love the wind. They don't, they can't stand it. So let's hope that it did what it did yesterday and at sunset kind of dropped substantially. I don't even have shoes on today. I'm just going to tell you, it's too hot to put shoes on. So we call them flip-flops. So yeah, it is actually too hot for shoes, which is unusual because I always wear shoes outside. I don't like not wearing shoes. So I won't be prancing around out of the vehicle today because I don't want to step on a snake and get bitten. Don't want to do that. Ah, goodness, please elephants save us. So I think I'm literally going to check every single watering hole on this property in order to try and find something to start off with. So we'll go to Buffelshoek Dam and then we'll see. We probably won't find much there because just whenever I try and look for animals at Buffelshoek Dam, there's never anything there. Maybe Scuba Steve will be back from his adventures last night, but who knows. And also you're stuck with me because we already seem to be having all sorts of technical difficulties with vehicles and signal and all sorts of wonderful things. Great, it's a great start to the show. Okay. Just going to try and get us to Buffelshoek Dam as quickly as we can. Wonderful. The gremlins seem to have vanished from the Mara team and Scott is out and about. So let's go across to him and see what he's been doing all day.
Everyone, welcome up to the Masai Mara. My name is Scott and it's great to have you on board with me. Look at all these wildebeest. I bet you never imagined there would be so many in one place, and that is because it is the Great Migration. These wildebeest have traveled a couple of 100 miles from the country below us called Tanzania into this area, and they do it every single year. They're on the move throughout the year, and they spend about 3 to 4 months here in Kenya. And hopefully they'll be here for maybe another month before they head back south in search of more food. But right now they're enjoying the fresh green grass. This whole area was burnt from a big fire, which means it's created space for new tasty green grass to pop up, and they are absolutely loving it. It's not only the wildebeest that migrates, but also zebra. And let's see if we can find you any zebra, any little white spots in the distance. Sometimes you find lots of big herds of zebra. I think there's some zebra up there, James, at kind of on the top right, or there's some there on the middle of the screen up there. Oh no, those are eland. So those don't migrate. I just thought they could have been zebra because of their light color. Those are in fact the largest antelope that we get here in Africa. Very good. It's wonderful to have the school joining us today, so please send through as many questions as you can, otherwise it can be quite lonely out here, and I'd love to answer as many questions as I can. Oh, they haven't joined us yet. I'll try that again later. Very good. Well, let's continue on. I'm hoping on finding a female cheetah who goes by the name of Kikenya. And she was seen somewhere up on this hill to our right yesterday, and she's been in this general area kind of for the last few days. I'd say the last 4 or 5 days she's been in this general area. She seems to have been moving south though. Slowly but surely she's been moving further south. So I did a big loop to the south, and now I'm making my way back towards where she was seen yesterday. So those are my plans, and I'm hoping I'm going to get lucky. In the meantime, while I continue searching, we are going to send you across to Sydney.
I am very, very lucky at the moment here by the Chitwa Dam. I have got a breeding herd of the elephants. You can see they are now having something to eat. They've just been to the waterhole just now, and this seems to be very much relaxed, although they've got tiny little babies. And a very, very good afternoon, and welcome to the beginning of the afternoon safari. I am Sydney Pumurani Mikosi, and I'm going to be with you with Senzo, who is my camera operator this afternoon. My plan is quite easy already. You can see I've got something for you, and I'll be looking for some other reptiles in the area. For your questions and comments, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. Oh, that was nice. You can hear the elephants. They are just now trumpeting. Hazel, the different kinds of weather do actually affect the animals' mood. Like now, we are at the end of the dry season. There is no much food for the animals to eat, and there is no much water for the animals to drink. When sometimes coming across animals under stress as a result of the environmental conditions, their level of aggression gets very high. So these animals can easily get irritated. Yes, the environmental conditions do play a very significant role when it comes to the modification of the animal behavior. So you can see that here where we are, because we are just by the dry riverbed where the water is flowing during the rainy season, the trees which are growing alongside this dry riverbed, they are still very much green due to quite a lot of moisture and water that is under the ground. You can see also the grass that is here is dry, but you can see some other green patches showing that the area is nutritious and has got quite a lot of water available. It's too windy here where I am at the moment. You can hear the wind is blowing too much, and the sun is very hot at the moment. Cameron, I didn't copy your question very well. If you can repeat that for me, the final control. Caroline, poachers or poaching is not the biggest threat here in the Djuma Game Reserve area, as we do have a very well organized, well-trained group of the anti-poachers who are looking after these animals every day and night. We have got very dedicated staff members who are looking after these animals every time. So poaching is not an issue here by the Djuma Game Reserve. So you can see that some of these elephants, they are very much wet because of a lot of mud, and that is one of the ways animals such as the big animals, the elephants, are using the mud in order to control their body temperature. If they don't do this, they experience too much sun. So also the movement of the ears, flapping the ears every time helps in order to protect them against this kind of hot weathers. So now let's go to the Masai Mara, where Scott, one of my colleagues, has got the lovely eland. I haven't seen eland here in Djuma.
Hello everyone from Heyman Morris Middle School. It is wonderful to have you up in Kenya now. You've just been transported nearly 2,000 miles to where we are sitting. And isn't this a cool scene? This is a herd of eland and they've got lots of little babies. I haven't seen a herd of eland this big in a long time, let alone with so many babies. And these are the largest antelopes that we get here in Africa. You've just seen the largest mammal in Africa, the elephant, and now the largest antelope. And both the males and the females have got horns, whereas some of the antelope that we get here, only the males will have. But with the eland, it is a little bit more tricky. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And these aren't the only animals. If we take a look to the left, we can also see lots and lots of wildebeest. And we are lucky because at the moment the migration is in town. For about 3 or 4 months of the year, wildebeest and zebra that have traveled a couple of 100 miles away from Tanzania come and visit us to eat all of the fresh green grass. Jana, you would like to know how the animals do with water and how often, I think that you were asking how often they have to drink and how far they might have to travel to get to water. Well, it really depends. At the moment, it hasn't rained for a long time, so there's not many puddles of water for them to drink out of. But there are a few small riverbeds in the area, and in those areas there is a little bit of water. But there's also a very big river called the Mara River, where there is plenty of water to drink. So I guess it kind of depends on where they are from day to day. Their lives are not nearly as planned as our lives. They don't necessarily eat breakfast, lunch and dinner at set times like we do. They just make a plan depending on what is available for them. Oh, there's a zebra as well. They, like the wildebeest, will also migrate a long distance away into this area. So those are the two main animals that migrate, but also some smaller animals called Thompson's gazelle. Very good. Well, my name is Scott, and it's great to have you with us. I'm teamed up with James on camera, and thanks for sending through your question, Jana, and I'm looking forward to answering some more questions from you guys. For now, we're going to send you back down south to South Africa.
I'll introduce myself. Wow, thank you, Scott. Look who we've got. We've got Scuba Steve, the hippopotamus. But my name is Taylor McCurdy, and I am not a hippopotamus, and on camera with me today is VM. How cool is that? So just before you all joined us, we came racing on down. We said we were going to do a waterhole patrol and see what we can find. And here we are at one of the last remaining dams. So that's Scuba Steve. He's the resident here, but he's not very happy today. And if you look very carefully on his back, you can see, look at those scratches. So he's been fighting. Now, I don't know who he's been fighting with. Probably another hippopotamus. Maybe he also met some lions while he was out of the water, because these hippos don't stay in the dams all day long. They actually go out to eat grass, and they have to travel very far at this time of the year to try and find food. Dylan, I'm not actually sure what the bite force of a shark is, but a hippo bite force is quite large and exceptionally powerful. They've got really massive jaws. But luckily for you and I, the hippos don't really want to bite us unless you get in their way. Then they can be very grumpy. So basically, The hippos will leave you alone, and I suppose a bit like sharks too. They're just very curious. Well, I don't really know much about shark behavior, so I won't talk about the shark behavior, but I'll talk about the hippo behavior. So if I were to go into this watering hole now, Scuba Steve will be very, very upset with me, because I'm coming into his home. It's his territory, and there's not much water left. So he'll probably try and attack me. If I were to go on a canoe and I was maybe paddling down the Great Zambezi River, and I got too close to him and his girls, so if he had a breeding group of hippos with him with lots of females and calves, he wouldn't be very happy with me either. So you have to be careful of them. And then of course the most important one is to never come in between a hippo and water. But there's a terrapin too, using the hippo as a rock to sunbathe, but also that terrapin will eat little ticks and things off of that hippo. Now, Rose, you've asked which animal gets into the most fights. Oh, that's difficult to say. I think hippos fight quite a bit, and especially at this time of the year because there's a lot of competition because there's no water around. So I would say maybe now, I would say hippos. Who else fights a lot? Birds fight often. Different birds fight one another all the time. There's always all sorts of squabbles. And actually, let's find the blacksmith lapwing, VM, just off to the right. This is a bird, the big one. So there's two birds there. There's the really small one, which is the three-banded plover, and the other one to the right, the blacksmith lapwing, is actually quite territorial. And you can often see them chasing other birds away from the water's edge. So normally, that blacksmith lapwing is flying around, taking on birds much bigger than it. And then, VM, can you see the impala? They're just over there. They're just on the other side, in between the trees. Now, Rose, those animals over there, those are antelope and those are impala rams. So those are the boys. And during certain times of the year, they fight with one another also for the girls, for breeding season. So yeah, so it also depends. So at certain times of the year, some animals are more prone to fighting than others. Egyptian geese, oh, what a nuisance they are. They also chase the other birds away. Now, Chase, you asked why is that turtle on the hippo's back? It's actually not a turtle, it is a terrapin. So a turtle in South Africa is what you'd find in the ocean. They have flippers rather than sort of semi-webbed feet with claws on them. And then tortoises are the ones that are normally on land. So you'll find terrapins sitting on the backs of the animals all the time, and especially hippos in the water. And like I said, they just use them like a big rock to sunbathe. And then that way, if something tries to eat the terrapin or if it feels threatened, it can quickly dive into the water. And there's the grumpy hippo. You can see he's not very happy at the moment, firstly because he has been in a fight, and also that the water is now drying up. There's more mud than anything. Right, but let's go back across to Sydney, who has still got the big grey giants.
You can see that one of the elephants is feeding just directly onto the thorn tree. And they don't mind this kind of thorns because these elephants, they are used to, so they're using the trunk in order to break the small pieces of the thorn trees in order to get hold of the fresh leaves. But now I can see there is no leaves at all. But I know that these elephants are attracted by these vachelias or acacias because of the kind of nutrients and the proteins this tree is providing, as well as the spine trees, because the spine and the acacia trees, they produce quite a lot of protein, which is needed to move this big body size. So, Brett, the elephants, they do have big ears for quite a lot of reasons. One is for the hearing ability, so that they can be able to hear from very far. Two, the elephants, they've got ears in order to help to cool the body temperature. So these ears are also used in order for that. And again, the very same ears can be used in order to show some kind of problems, like when these elephants are not happy, they will use the ears. So you can Really, the scariest situation I've been in with the elephants, it was when I went out for a guided walk. And coming back to where I left the vehicle, because for that guided walk, I had to drive and drop the vehicle somewhere next to the road and kickstart the guided walk. Coming back, I found the vehicle was surrounded by the elephants. And I had to wait for about almost an hour for these elephants to move away. But it was taking time and I was a little bit impatient. Then I decided to leave my guests with the backup and I had to hide and crawl. I was just crawling on my stomach and I went underneath the vehicle to get to the driver's side. And I managed to take away the vehicle, but the situation was not that very bad. The thing is, it was tough for me to get hold of that vehicle. So you can see that these elephants, for them to eat, they don't just eat straight, the bark straight away from the tree. They treat the bark with the trunk and they open and take the inner bark. So they just select. They can be able to select what they want from a branch. So you can see that that trunk has got quite a lot of muscles there. So the elephant has got a lot of muscles, which can be more than 1,500 muscles. So that trunk is powerful. And that is the most important tool for these elephants because they use it as a hand and they use it to collect water as well. Nox, the elephants, they can use their trunks in order to move something very much easily. The trunk is very much soft and it doesn't have the bones. I just want to now turn so that you can see these elephants very nicely. You can see that the elephant is right here and he's just about to urinate right in front of me. So you can hear that there's quite a lot of liters coming out. Elephants, they drink quite a lot of water a day and they've got to eat 400 kilograms. And now during the dry season, they've got to drink a lot and also eat a lot. Look at that. That was amazing. The elephant came, visited me right here at a distance of less than 3 meters. He was just next to the vehicle. I didn't even see him coming as I was focusing on the camera. So you can see that the elephants, too much has been said bad about them as if they are very much aggressive. But let me tell you something. Elephants, they are aggressive, is true, but sometimes they are very much calm. It's a very peaceful animal when they have got babies and when they have got some injuries and when the bull is on mast. Mast is a very unpredictable condition which is caused by the level of their testosterone. When the elephants are on those 3 different conditions is when they can tend to be very, very aggressive. The elephants, some of them are tuskless. Why? Because they lose their tusks during the fight. They do fight elephants. Sometimes their fight can be vicious. But some of the elephants in South Africa, I know of a national park called the Addo Elephant Park, which is somewhere near Port Elizabeth, whereby they do have the tuskless elephant, which is like kind of a gene which is producing the tuskless elephants. So I'm very sure that the tuskless elephants, when they come to the vegetation like where we are now, it will be very much difficult for them to survive because here they need their tusks as a very important tool in order to debug the trees. So now we are going to go back to Taylor, who is driving at the moment.
And I suspect we'll be driving for quite some time, unfortunately, because there are no animals today. They've all run away. They've gone somewhere else. They're not here to play. They're with Sydney at the moment. He's got all the animals. But Chitwa is an awesome place on a hot afternoon. Now, Devin, you've asked what's made me want to do this, to be a safari guide, I suppose. Well, I like wild animals, I like being outdoors, I like people sometimes. No, I'm joking. I love interacting with people. Now I don't have to talk and interact with people, you know, face to face, but I get to talk to a lot more people, which is pretty cool, much bigger audience. Yeah, it's just, for me it is the most perfect job. I don't mind working long hours. I don't mind that you have to get up really, really early and sometimes go to bed really, really late. So for all the different aspects of the job, it's perfect. It suits me just fine. So yeah, and I used to go on safari a lot. So I think that that also had something to do with it. Growing up as a kid, it's a very, very cool job. Maybe some of you will want to become a safari guide one day or go into conservation or something like that. Alyssa, now you've asked about whether we ever capture the animals to study them, or do we just observe them. There's lots of flies around today. There's going to be a few less in the population when I catch some of them. So we catch flies, we don't study them though, we just squash them because they're so annoying. But they're also hot and they're just trying to get the moisture. You can actually see that all around VM's camera at the moment. I don't know what we've just flown through, but they're everywhere. They're on us now. Or they're buffalo or something somewhere. Anyways, so no, here we don't. However, when I've worked on other game reserves before working for SafariLive and working in front of a camera, basically we would do game capture, which means we'd go out and we'd catch a whole lot of animals and reintroduce them into another area, or maybe it was for, you know, studying of rhinos and the protection of rhinos, so they had GPS collars that they had to put on them, and then, you know, you had an opportunity to see that animal up close. But they were under, and you know, they would have been darted and put under anesthetic to keep them asleep, because they would not like it very much if they woke up. But none of them were ever brought into captivity. They were all small procedure and then woken up and off they go. So yeah, the thing that you mustn't get confused with as a safari guide is that you don't actually ever touch the animals, ever. It's not like working in a rehabilitation center or something like that. We don't do anything like that. So you pretty much just observe the animals. You just watch them from a distance and basically explain to people in a way in which they can understand what's going on, which is quite cool. I think it's quite cool. You get to tell the story of whatever animal that you're looking at. I think we're going to have to go to Twin Dams next, and then Treehouse Dam, and hopefully we'll have better luck down that way. Anyways, off we go back to the Mara with Scotty. There's lots of animals out there. I wonder which one is going to be next.
Well, that's a good idea, Taylor, especially seeing it's so hot down there in South Africa. It was quite hot here today, not nearly as hot as there, but thankfully there's a few clouds that are cooling us off now, at least stopping the sun from shining on us. So I had kind of two plans to start out to start with this afternoon. I was hoping on trying to find you guys a cheetah, specifically a female cheetah, and she was seen kind of a little bit behind us yesterday, so I thought I'd just drive through that area in the hope that we might get a glimpse of her. Nobody's seen her today, but we didn't have any luck. So now I've changed the plan, and that often happens on safari, because often the animals do what they like and we don't know where they are because they've got so much space to be able to go wherever they like. So now plan B is to try and find you some lion, and importantly, you need to know that there are two tiny little cubs that we saw for the very, very first time yesterday. They're probably around 6 weeks old, maybe 2 months old, but still very small and cute. And we're probably about half an hour away from getting there. Let me show you where we're going to be going. Basically, there's a big mountain to our left over there, and we last saw the lions at the base of that mountain, so it gives you an idea of how far we need to go. Very good. So we're going to be soon, we're going to be right at the bottom of that hill. So remember how far away it is now, and in half an hour's time hopefully we'll be closer. Riley, you would like to know if lions are the top of the food chain. Yes, they are here, and it depends on the size of the pride though. You can get hyenas, for example, that have got very big clans or families that can sometimes be more powerful than the prides of lions simply because of their numbers. So if 20 or 30 hyenas come across 3 or 4 lions that have just made a kill, those 30 or 40 hyenas will easily be able to chase them away. So that's why I said it depends. But ordinarily, if they're equally matched, lions are on top of the food chain here. And hopefully it won't take us too long to find you some lions. There's multiple different prides of lion that occupy different areas. So who knows, maybe we'll find some different lions and not the ones with cubs. Only time will tell. Rini, you would like to know what I would do if a lion approached us. Well, in the vehicle, in most kind of wilderness areas where people drive around looking at animals like we do here, the lions and the wildebeest and all the animals have become used to the vehicles, and they understand that we don't feed them, we don't hurt them, we don't take their food away from them, so we kind of become unimportant to them, and they don't really pay too much attention to us. And that's why if a lion came towards us, I'd probably tell you to take a close look. I might pull out my camera, take a few pictures, but in the vehicle we've got nothing to worry about. On foot though, it's a very different story, and sometimes people do walking safaris. So if a lion was to approach you on foot, the best thing to do is to stand your ground, because if you start running away, the lion's immediately going to start feeling strong, and that it's more powerful than you, and it may then start to chase you. So as a general rule, even if, you know, a dog comes running up to you that you don't know, if you stand your ground and shout and clap, it'll think twice. But if you start running away, it'll think, oh, this is easy, let me keep chasing them. So that's the general rule for any animal that may be approaching you that you don't want to approach. Devin, you are asking if any animals ever get aggressive towards us. Yes, they do. And interestingly enough, it's very seldom the carnivores. Most people tend to think the most dangerous animals out here are the lions and the leopards. But in fact, most of the dangerous animals, or most of the danger rather, comes from the herbivores like elephants and buffalo. An elephant with a young baby or even a big bull can sometimes show aggression towards people, even in vehicles, and the same goes for the Cape buffalo. So those are the two main animals that I'm most cautious of out here. The black rhino is another one that can sometimes have a bit of a short temper. But again, it's very important that all of you know that 99% of the time, wild animals do not want to have anything to do with us. They've got their own lives to live, and they really don't want to cause any trouble, provided we give them the respect and the space that they need. Also, very often, just like I guess your parents, you may be able to see when your parents are getting angry with you before they give you a little wallop. You begin to read into their body language, and it's the same with the animals out here. If a big elephant shakes its head at us, it's a warning to say, I'm not happy. So if we give it space and move away, then it will start to relax. Whereas if we don't listen to those kind of body language and those signals that animals give us, that could cause us trouble. Okay, so you can see we're heading straight towards the mountain now, and I'm hoping that there are going to be some lions waiting there somewhere for us. Ariel, you would like to know which animal is at the bottom of the food chain. Phew, that's a tricky question. Sure, I don't have a clue actually. It's a very good question. I guess, you know, it depends on whether you're talking about the predators. I guess you need to kind of break it up into different categories, Ariel. Out of the predators, which is at the bottom? Out of the kind of herbivores, which one kind of is the weakest or will get to eat last in the times of drought? So I don't know if that helps. But I wouldn't know which animal's right at the bottom of the food chain here. It'll be interesting to hear Taylor and Sydney's thoughts on that question. We usually only talk about the top of the food chain, and that's why I think it's such a good question, Ariel. I do not have an answer as good as your question, sadly. So let me think about that for a while. All righty. Well, we're going to keep on searching and send you back to Sydney, who's arrived at a waterhole.
I am right here at the Chitwa Dam, and right in front of me I can see that there is quite a few hippopotamus who are very much relaxed at the moment, which is very much normal, because the hippopotamus, when the sun is hot like this, they battle too much with regards to the body temperatures. So you can see they are all now. That there was a discussion about the animal at the bottom of the food chain. So the animal at the bottom of the food chain, I'm not too sure, but I think that is determined by how you are going to draw your trophic pyramid. Remember, the food chain is interesting. It doesn't only start from the living animals. Sometimes you might find that the food chain, the trophic pyramid, is starting from the dead animal as a source of food for the dendritic feeders. So the dendritic feeders are those small organisms which are responsible to decompose the dead bodies of plants and animals. Gyra, the hippopotamus, they come out of the water at about just shortly after dark, and they are going to spend all their night outside, and they will come back tomorrow morning just before the sunrise. And some of them, you'll find them after the sunrise, and some of them don't even come back home. They can go somewhere and hide in the thick bushes and come back again afterwards. The distances and the activities of hippopotamus is encouraged mostly by the availability of food. Destiny, some of the animals who are moving in groups, most of them, they are lot of home ranges animals, big heads such as the elephants. Home ranges are the animals who are staying in the whole area. Those ones are not territorial. Territorial animals is the animals that come in the home range, in the whole piece of land, and they come and demarcate and divide the land into small pieces and stay with the families. So big animals such as the buffaloes, they are home ranges. They can just go anywhere. And elephants, they are home ranges. In other words, animals that mostly go in groups, you will see them when they are looking for the better available food. Then animals that you see solitary, such as the leopards, those animals is the animals that normally meet the females during the mating season. Mating season is a breeding season. It's when the hormones by the females are ready for them to breed. Then they will come and have to meet with them, and they will mate, and after that they are going to again isolate and live by themselves. Some of these animals, the males are not even responsible to grow their babies. Rayland, the hippopotamus, the group of hippopotamus together, the family is called a school. So the hippopotamus, they stay together with the family. Every time you'll see them together, but when they're feeding, sometimes they can disperse. Sometimes you can see them walking together on a convoy, feeding close to each other. So the babies of these hippopotamus, they are born here underwater. And shortly after that, they must have to come out, and they will go and they will circle, and they circle in water and outside. So now I'm just going to try and see if I can find you something interesting here by the Chitwa Dam. But while I'm doing that, let's go to Taylor, who is just driving looking for something.
So we checked Twin Dams, which is another little watering hole in comparison to the one we were just at. But we've covered quite a bit of ground, and there was nothing. There was a type of eagle, but it flew away and then hid in a tree, so we couldn't even show you that. Then we're almost at the next watering hole, which is called Treehouse Dam. There isn't a treehouse anymore. There used to be one, so we'll check there. I'm going to say we're going to see an Egyptian goose, maybe a blacksmith lapwing, and a three-banded plover. Definitely terrapins. VM, would you like to add any other animals to the list? Skink. We'll be looking for a skink, which is a type of lizard. Winter. So I suppose these animals that have got all the hair on them, they're kind of used to it. I read an interesting article, about people that shave their dogs. Now obviously dogs have got and animals have got different types of hair in order to either keep them warm or cool, because yes, fur can actually keep you cool, depending on the area. So these animals are very much used to the exceptionally hot weather, and it also gets quite cold here, but it doesn't snow in this area. So I was reading this article, and they basically showed dogs that had been shaved and put in the sun. Those areas that were shaved were now a lot more hotter than what they were, or than the areas where they still had fur. So they have got their own kind of thermoregulation sort of system. Check leopard tracks. These are fresh, VM. Like these are from maybe, yeah. Look at them going down here. These look like they were maybe later this morning, or later after the morning safari. But that's a big male leopard track. So, and it's going towards the dam where we want to go. So maybe we're going to be in luck. Maybe we're going to find ourselves a leopard. So let's see if we can follow them. Our resident male leopard, his name is Tingana. He likes it around here. He was on a kill here the other day too. So we'll keep our eyes open. We need to check here because there's lots of places that can hide away. Oh my goodness, Lizzie, I'm not sure exactly what the smallest mammal is. It's probably going to be a little rodent species of some sort. But I'm, to be honest, I couldn't even tell you what the smallest one is. Maybe someone can do a quick internet search. Smallest mammal. I don't know, a mouse of some sort? It'll be something like that. There's so many of them out here though. That's actually a very good question. But I shall try, or we'll see if we can ask the fundies and Final Control that's in the studio, because they've got access to all the computers. It would be very bad. Imagine I whipped out my computer now and started searching. Oh, I was going to say maybe a shrew. Do we know which shrew, Nikki? Because we might, I don't know if we'll maybe even get it in this area. The Etruscan, says Nikki, who's directing. Shrew, I have a suspicion we probably don't get that here. But you do get lots of different species of shrews around here. So like I said, some kind of a rodent of sorts. You don't see them very often. They're very shy. Very, very shy. And good news, I've still got the male leopard tracks in the dam. Is coming around over here now. I just want to make sure, because he could, like I said, he could have gone anywhere. Could have had a drink of water and then gone and sat down somewhere. Okay, I'm going to keep on searching around here to see if we can find the big male leopard, because that would be great. Or if you go to Scott in the Mara, who's also driving and searching for animals.
Well, that's exciting stuff. Good luck, Taylor. I hope you find that leopard. So you'll maybe notice we're getting a little bit closer to the mountain, but sadly I don't think we're going to make it in time to get to exactly where I wanted to look for those lying with you. But as I said earlier, you simply never know what is going to happen when you are on safari. And as we go over this little hill, maybe we'll find another prize. of lion hunting, or who knows what could be going on. And that is why I love this job and why it keeps me out here, because it's full of surprises. Dylan, yes, you're correct. The male lions do have manes. Once they're about 4 or 5 years of age, they start to grow to a decent size, and usually at around 7 or 8 years they've got a big mane. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear your question clearly, Dylan. You're asking why do the males have the manes and the females don't? Well, there's a few different theories. Nobody knows exactly the reason why. One of the theories is that because the male lions have to fight with one another to get the ladies, the mane provides a big kind of helmet for them to protect their head and their neck when they're fighting with one another. But there's another theory that suggests that that doesn't really make sense, because often when lions are fighting with one another, they try and bite one another right at the base of the back and on the back legs, and they try and disable their opponents. They try and bite their back and paralyze them. Not a good way to go, but that is usually where lions will attack, and also hyena and other predators. So that's why you get different theories that may kind of not really make sense with one another. Another theory is simply to attract the females. So males that have got big dark manes are more likely to be attractive towards the ladies. Anyway, it's been wonderful having you guys up here in Kenya with me. We're going to send you back down to Sydney for the last few minutes of your safari.
A very good afternoon and welcome back to the Safari Live. We are right here by the Chitwa Dam, and at the moment I have got a crocodiles. And don't forget, this is an interactive activity. For your questions and comments, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive, and also on YouTube chat stream. So you can see that now I am here by the Chitwa Dam, but it's very much windy and it's very hot at the moment. I can see one of the crocodiles out. I can't see the others. It means now these crocodiles and the other reptiles, because reptiles such as the monitors, I see them a lot here by the Chitwa Dam. By today they are experiencing, I'm sure, some kind of overheating. These kind of reptiles, they do experience overheating. Oh, maybe it's Vlad. You can see it's very much relaxed, but the fact that the mouth is open is also a very big sign, which has got something to do with the weather condition. When the crocodile's mouth is open, mostly is when the crocodile is trying to get rid of the too much heat from the body. So it's trying to cool the body temperature from that. I can promise you today, the weather is not like the other days. It's extremely hot at the moment. So when the crocodile's mouth is open like this, Scenic, I have been looking for the monitor lizard for the past few seconds and few minutes, but I can promise you I've been to the other side of the dam and around the dam, but I cannot see any of the monitor lizard. So it means the monitor lizard, they are trying to cool the body temperature somewhere in this dam. Or maybe they are under the trees. So you can see the hippopotamus there as well. It's right deep in the water. All the hippopotamus today, they are deep inside. No hippopotamus are lying on the bank here in order to get the sun. So you can see there is nothing around here. All these hippos, they are submerging. Pearl 6, thank you very much for such a lovely and inspiring comment. That makes me feel inspired. Thank you very much for that. So I'm trying to check now very nicely by the bank to see if maybe we're going to pick up one of the monitor lizards, but I can promise you all the monitor lizards, they are hiding today. But I'm not surprised, as I indicated, this has got something to do with the weather condition. Rosalind, a crocodile is one of the predators, and if you can see the design of the crocodile, just look at the head of this crocodile and see where the eyes is arranged. The location of the eyes is right on top of the head, and that gives you a sign that this animal is a predator and the eyes are located there for hunting purposes. Crocodiles, yes, they don't go out mostly for hunting purposes. Sometimes they can go out in order to follow the mates by the other dams and going to the nearest rivers. So crocodiles are carnivores. Carnivores are the animals who depend on meat for their survival. So all they eat crocodile is meat. So now let's go back to Taylor, who is now busy trying to search for the leopard. I'm very sure it's not going to be an easy search, as now cats, when it's hot like this, they can be able to lie down flat under the trees.
That's exactly what I think this leopard is doing. Now, we had a look at the dam. There wasn't much. VM and I, the only bird we got right was a three-banded plover that was at the dam. Anyways, the tracks of this male leopard go off into this block between Savage's Track, Weaver's Nest, Elephant Carcass, and Philemon's Cut Line. So, it's not an unusual spot. I've seen Tingana in this block many times before. So we're just going to quickly check Philemon's Cut Line because we haven't checked that yet. And then we will probably end up going towards Gallagher Pan and just having a quick squiz there. And the reason why is because it is still quite hot. No, let's see if we... There's a little golden-breasted bunting. It's so pretty. Hello, little birdie. Look how beautiful. I didn't get it for too long, but you got the gist of it. There it was. So we'll have a look there, and then I think we'll just come back here a little bit later, maybe in an hour, maybe by about 5:30, just before 5:30, and recheck this area. We'll start listening out because we know Tingana's quite vocal, especially if he hasn't got a kill. Then he does make quite a bit of noise, letting all the other male leopards know that he is here and this is his kingdom. So we will check around here, but we'll also see if we can find Hosanna. Oh, hi Impala. John, well, I suppose when there's no water, they go and look for more water somewhere else. They might move down towards the rivers, even though most of the rivers, like the Sabi and the Sand River, they don't flow all year long. And once the rain sort of stops coming through, they just trickle. And I believe that the Sand River stopped flowing, I don't know if it was last week or a few days ago. And they don't normally rage unless there's a significant downpour. Then they'll, be raging torrents for a couple of days, maybe to 2 weeks, and then they normally subside. And they're not particularly deep. So they're very sandy rivers. So they will have to go down there. They'll just keep moving. This is a massive area, and there are lots of pumped pans. So we've got a pump pan here. So the chances of water running out are very slim, unless our borehole dries up. Then it will be a bit of a problem. So yeah, but there will always be some form of water. We've got 2 pump pans on the property. We've got Gallagher Pan and then Vuyatela Pan as well. And then the rest of them just are seasonal and just collect water. And Chitwa Dam is massive. I don't know if it's ever come close to drying up before. See, Nick, the crocodiles and hippos move also massive distances. Do you remember last year, was it last year, when we started seeing the crocodiles moving and we were seeing them on bushwalk? So they can also walk like serious miles in order to find better areas for water. And the same thing goes for a hippo. We've been talking about how the competition at a watering hole is quite serious during the winter months with a variety of animals. Obviously hippos being the ones that spend the most time in the water and consistently at the watering hole. But then the commotion that comes from big herds of buffalo trying to come on through and drink water and cool themselves down. And when elephants come through, man, the animals clash. They're not particularly friendly. I've even seen hippos trying to chase rhinos away when they've come down to drink. So yeah, lots and lots of competition that's around. So I'm just also scanning as we drive, as you can imagine. It makes it much better for us to see at the moment. But no sign of leopard tracks, so I'm pretty sure that this male leopard is off to my right. Scott doesn't seem to be having as much luck either, but perhaps as the sun goes down, it will change for both of us.
Good luck, Taylor. We have a beautiful, beautiful scene here, at least I think it is, with hundreds and hundreds of wildebeest dotted in these short green open plains. It's fascinating how many they are, and it's equally fascinating how much these herds move from day to day. We've been spending a lot of time in this general area, and it always astounds me to see the kind of daily localized movements of the wildebeest. Today, Brent almost had some wildebeest crossing from west to east, the kind of opposite direction that they usually cross the Mara River. So interesting stuff happening here. And how cool is this? It's just never ending. Wouldn't it be nice to know how many wildebeest you've just seen, or continuing to see? It's absolutely insane. And I mean, just to bear in mind, this is just a small portion of the Masai Mara and of the migration that we are showing you. They stretch far and wide over many kilometers. It's not as nearly as organized as an event as most of us kind of think it is. Wonderful stuff. James, who I'm teamed up with on camera's pan so far, he's had to reposition himself to be able to continue panning, which gives you an idea of the extent of not only these open plains, but also the wildebeest that are dotted among them. Wonderful. Let's keep on moving. It's turning out to be a beautiful evening after what has been an uncomfortably hot day. We're lucky here in that it's a dry heat. It's not humid like it is down in the sands. But I'm definitely feeling a bit frazzled, having been out since midday. I'm really enjoying the new kind of shifts that we're working, which allows us to spend a lot of time in the field, but also contribute towards these scheduled sunrise and sunset safaris. It seems to be producing some good results in terms of action and broadcast between the scheduled drives. It's kind of a toss-up. Like today, I was like, should we stay at the river and see if we don't get another crossing, or should we go and try and find these sausage tree cubs? And I want to try and get on top of things. I am really concerned about them. The three lioness, including the mother of those two cubs, were heading right into the wrong place. They should be, in my opinion, heading back towards the father of those cubs, which is Kipuli, and he tends to spend time further to the east. Yet they're heading into an area that's not really their normal territory, their normal turf, and also it is where there are two new rogue males. And the last time we saw those two rogue males was probably about 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago, and they were mating with the other remaining two lioness from the Sausage Tree Pride, Kinky Tail and one other. So now I'm concerned that maybe these three lionesses heard Kinky Tail's vocalizations and wants to go and meet up with them, but they may not know that there are some dangerous males there. We need to rush you off to Taylor and some warthog before they go wee, wee, running away.
Oh, I started my car because we thought that they had run away, but they've now stopped running and walking away slowly in the distance. That is spectacular. That's the best view of a warthog I've had all week, have you? I mean, this is just quite something, don't you think? I'm obviously being very sarcastic. The warthogs here don't like to be viewed. Okay, bye warthog. If you don't want to be seen, I won't talk about you. That's fine. Okay, so what's that? Oh, it's a stick. Sorry, I thought I'd seen something, but I hadn't actually. Okay, we're gonna basically go down here past Chelepan, up Twin Dams, and then back around to Gallagher side. Or maybe when Sydney leaves Chitwa and he comes back here, he can just quickly recheck Treehouse Dam to see if Tingana doesn't pop out. Just in case we get... Just saw leopard tracks. Where are they? Joshua, no, the mysterious Byron male that annoyed us to death yesterday. Thank goodness he only stayed for one night. No, just joking. It was so nice to see him. He has gone to spend a night with another friend of his that works up on a game reserve a little bit further away from here. And then I think he goes to Londolozi. So he'll be around in the area. Probably won't get to see him again. Check that new den there. Or burrow. So, look at that. I've never noticed that one before. I must come and have a look at it on Bushwalk and have a closer inspection to see who actually dug it out. Probably an aardvark, I'm going to say, something like that. They're typical of ones that are constantly digging new burrows, but you can see there's a lot of soil that's been dug out there, and you can see how sort of broken it up it still was on the inside. So that says to me that that's maybe a week or so old, but it's a fairly new burrow. Fantastic. I'm not going to tell anyone where it is so that I can be the first one to go and look at it on Bushwalk. No, I'm only joking. But quite nice. Will be a surprise as to who's living there. Barbara. Now, Wilbur the warthog, I don't know where he is. He normally lives on the most southern corner of Djuma and then pops onto Chitwa, but I haven't seen him for ages, and his favorite mud wallow is now dried up, so I think would have had to have moved slightly, but I don't know where he's gone. I'm sure he's somewhere. He's a tough old pig, that guy, and he seems to have a lot of life experience and has successfully managed to evade leopards and lions. So we'll carry on going this way. And we'll just drive. I did hear monkeys alarming today, so I think Hosanna has been around somewhere. We'll basically head into that area, but I'm just checking because there's some nice spots to hide away here. Now Senac, in terms of animals that build the biggest burrows, warthogs have got a very intricate sort of burrowing system. I once saw a video, I think it was filmed at Punda on the east coast of South Africa. I don't know how many pigs, like 17 pigs that came out of one burrow, which is pretty spectacular. So that's quite massive. I think hyenas as well, they've got really big burrows, especially brown hyenas, although I've seen a lot of brown hyenas like utilizing caves and things like that and rocks. Porcupines maybe? I don't know who makes the biggest burrow underneath the ground, because remember they all sort of use one another's burrows too, and they just kind of make their own renovations to what specific requirements they need. So a warthog might have to widen it a little bit because they can get quite big and might find it difficult to squeeze in if a porcupine or something has been in there, which is slightly smaller. So I don't know. What do you think, VM? Can you think of anything else that makes massive burrows? Elephants? VM says elephants. Yes, the African burrowing elephant that I've not seen just yet. Of course, we're talking absolute nonsense. So we're just going to keep on searching. We'll head around to Gallagher Pan and hopefully Hosanna will be having a drink.
Yeah, thank you, VM, for that little piece of genius. For those of you who don't know VM, He's an incredibly funny individual. He's ordinarily quite quiet, but whenever he decides to say something, it usually has most of the crew in stitches. Now, like Taylor, it's I'm also kind of a little bit unsure as to who would build the biggest burrow, but for some reason I went off on a tangent, and I don't know if you can call them burrows, but in terms of underground homes, termites probably build the biggest. And the reason I say that is that I remember watching research on termites. And you know, you get those kind of cement trucks that drive around with the thing spinning that delivers pre-mixed cement to building sites. They took one of those to an old abandoned termite mound, plugged the pipe into it and emptied it. And I think they had to get another one, if my memory serves me correctly, and then even deposit a bit of cement from another whole massive truck. And once the kind of hole filled up, they let it dry and came back a few weeks later, and they slowly started excavating around all the cement that had now dried, and it was a massive, huge kind of building essentially that was left behind from all the tunnels and kind of different rooms, where, not rooms, but kind of little compartments within the underground tunnels and funnels where the termites farm fungus on their feces. So they might in fact be the biggest, even though it may be a network of smaller tunnels or burrows. When you add up all of those, it can be very, very big. And I guess the fact that termites will also consume more vegetable matter than most of the herbivores combined in an ecosystem also gives an idea of how numerous they are, how big their underground layers can be, and how much they actually feed on. Thankfully, they're feeding on vegetation that most other animals can't feed on because it's dry and not very nutritious, but because they have the ability to farm fungus on it to further break it down, or at least once they're fed on it once, they farm fungus on their feces, little pellets, gives you an idea how important termites are to most ecosystems. But in terms of the kind of regular animals, I guess it's a toss-up between aardvark and porcupine, who excavates the initial burrows, and then warthogs and hyenas come in and then further re-excavate those. So I don't know who we would give credit to exactly for that, because it's usually kind of teamwork at different periods. So yesterday we had the lion somewhere on our left but further behind us, heading across to our right. So where they ended up, I'm not too sure. I'm thinking of just fishing around this general area, and hopefully a little bit later, once it cools down, we might hear some audio. Hello Stormy, you would like to know how many lion prides do SafariLive follow? I need to stop the car and think about this. Let me actually get a map out and I can show you the various prides that we do see here in the triangle and kind of where they operate. So if we start at the top, this is kind of the area that the Olololo pride spend time. Our camp is somewhere up there. There's another small pride up here called the Marsh Breakaway Pride, I think, but we don't spend much time in this area because it's a non-off-roading area, which makes our lives very tricky. So there's one pride there, another one here that we don't follow too closely. Then the Owino pride are in this area, we follow them closely. And then the Sausage Tree pride over here. There's been so much kind of shifts and territories and dynamics at the moment, it's hard to keep track of things. The lion prides here in the Mara are definitely not as stable as the ones down south in South Africa. So Sausage Tree pride here. Those are the main two prides that we follow here in the Mara, but occasionally we will also spend time with the Mugoro pride. 3 ladies, they hang around over here. There's interestingly quite a nervous pride of lion right in the southwestern corner here. James, you're doing a great job keeping track of my finger. So this is where the Ngiraware pride spend time. They're a very skittish pride, which is a great pity because there's lots of them. There's 12 of them. And then over here is the Salt Lick pride, who we don't see very often. We're not even sure how many of them there are, I don't think, at the moment. 3 or 4 lioness, possibly. And then there's another pride down here in the corner called the Purungat pride. So there's quite a few prides that hang around. Over here in this area, I'm not too sure what's going on here or who hangs around here, but there are definitely lions that do their business here. So that was kind of I've missed I've missed the main part of your question there. Essentially two prides here in the Mara, and then down on Djuma, the Nkuhuma pride as and when they're on the property. I'm not too sure on actually what's been going on. I heard, the last I heard was that the Nkuhumas had moved south, and I think the Talamati and Torchwood prides have been spending a little bit of time on Djuma. Djuma, it's a lot more tricky because they don't have the benefits of having as much space as we have here. So where we can traverse multiple lion pride territories here, Djuma can only traverse a tiny portion of any given lion pride that may be working that area or kind of occupying that territory as and when. I hope that helps, Stormy. Very good. We're going to keep on keeping on and send you back to Sydney.
I am still here around the Chitwa Dam area, so I'm just checking around here to see if maybe we can find some cat's tracks, but I can see all the tracks that are here looks old because of the wind. The wind has been blowing a lot in the area, so nothing is looking fresh at the moment. Even the elephant's tracks, the elephant that I just saw now, their tracks are just getting disappeared. So maybe we're going to find some cat's tracks in the area here. I want to try my luck here around Chitwa Dam and then carry on back towards Central and see if maybe we can find something interesting there. Here by the Djuma Game Reserve, unfortunately, we don't have mountains here. But yes, in the area, I have seen we have got the Drakensberg Mountains. That's why, if you can check on our map here in Djuma, there is a road which is called a Drakensberg Road, because from that road you can be able to see the Drakensberg Mountains. They are not in the park, but they are in the area, and the area also provide the activities such as mountain climbing and hiking and other interesting activities. So I can see that we have got some elephants again. So I just want to go down here and see if we can have another good sighting before we leave the Chitwa Dam area. Yeah, I saw, oh yes, there's quite a lot of them here. I'm not too sure if this is the head I saw earlier or it's a different head, but I will be able to count when we get down there. I can see one is already in front here. And the elephants, there is a very interesting story about them and the royalties. And I saw that there was one of my viewers who was curious about it, wanting to know if I can repeat that. So I'm going to repeat to you how the elephant structure works and how the royalties, the king and the chiefs and the headmen works. So here, by the elephants, you find that this is a matriarchal system. A matriarchal system, it is a structure which is led by a female. So if you can go to these areas here amongst the African tribes, and by my tribe specifically, I'm not too sure about other tribes. My tribe, what happens is that the tribe has got a king or a chief. The king or the chief, they are responsible to rule the land. But when it comes to the decision making, they have got to consult the oldest aunt. The oldest aunt is the oldest sister in the family. So we've got the two categories. We have got a group of sisters and we have got a group of guys. And the group of sisters is the ones that has got much more powers in the family by the chieftaincy. And the group of guys, they follow the group of sisters. And if the guys don't want to take orders from the sisters are going to stop all the proceedings on everything that is happening by the family. Yes, the chief is there and the chief is crowned, but he is not responsible when it comes to the decision. It's a family related matter, but by the family, the oldest aunt is the one who must have to give guidance. And if the oldest aunt is disagreeing, nothing is going to happen. So neither the chief nor the guys are going to carry on further. They must have to again try by all means and convince the oldest aunt together with their group of sisters. So you can see that the structure of the elephants is the same structure which is guiding the proceedings by the chieftaincies, the kingships, as well as the headmen. John, the elephant has got quite a lot of size. Let's look at this elephant now. The distance between me and this elephant, at this stage, I can tell you this is a comfort zone. There is quite a lot of different stages before the animals takes an action. So let me familiarize you with these zones so that you can understand how it works. So the distance we are now between the vehicle and the elephant is a comfort zone. In other words, that animal is very happy with our presence. If I trespass this distance and maybe enter another 5 meters, I will be entering what is called an alert zone, whereby that animal is going to stop feeding now and start investigating. If I trespass 5 meters and add another 5 meters, I will be entering a warning zone whereby the elephant is going to start giving me warning signals. Notable signals will be from the ears. He's going to now spread the ears and swing the head and throw the trunk and kick the ground. That is when he's starting to show that I am not happy with your distance. Move back, move away. If you had trespassed that, is then that I'll be entering what is called a critical zone. Critical zone is an attack zone where anything can just happen. So the elephant has got big body size, and you can easily read their mood from the ears. And the tail, when the tail is down like that, so it means he doesn't have a problem. When he's starting to get irritated, he's going to lift up the tail. When he's cooling the tail is when he's showing that you are too close and I want my space. And I'm going to have to obviously take those kind of orders. So you can see that this elephant is trying to debug that small piece. So elephants from a tree, they don't have a specific area to feed. They feed on these leaves and they feed on small twigs, and they also uproot trees and eat the roots. Which is good because now when the leaves are not there, what were they going to eat? Nothing from the trees. But the fact that they can also debug and eat the roots, at least it gives them a good adaptability in order to feed during the dry season. So you can see that tusk. When looking at the size of the tusk, elephant can grow this tusk up to 2 meters. But some of the elephants can grow way much larger than 2 meters. So this elephant is much more cleaner on the left tusk. So now, let's go to the Masai Mara, where Scott is driving at the moment looking for something and see if he's going to win.
Well, your timing couldn't have been better, everyone. Look what we found. Some lions. We actually found them a few minutes ago and just drove around a little bit to see if we couldn't find the other male and the other female. Now, as far as I can tell, this is the less impressive of the two new kind of rogue males. We're not sure where they've come from. He's got a bit of a receding hairline, not that you can see too much now. And I can't remember which one of them was paired up with Kinky Tail last time. And I'm also not sure if this is in fact Kinky Tail or the other lioness lying next to him. Or who knows, maybe another lioness that's not from either, or from the Sausage Tree Pride. Either way, good prospects. We're going to not move a muscle and sit tight. They're looking surprisingly hungry considering how much food's in the area. And work out who they are and possibly if there are any other lions in the area. Now, I'm told a few of you were asking about other prides of lion that I didn't mention. The reason why I didn't mention them is because those lions are old news. That's last year's news. So basically last year we would spend time on the other side of the river. Let me get my map book out so I can show you how it all works. Okay, I'm ready, James, when you are. We've got some other guests here enjoying the sighting with us. So here is the Mara River. We only operate in the pink zone. The pink zone is the Mara Triangle. Last year we had access to the blue zone as well, but we don't have access to that anymore. And the Black Rock Pride was somewhere here, very far away from where we are now. I never actually saw them once. The Paradise Pride spent time up over here on the other side of the river. So I guess we do see them, and those are the lions we've been seeing hunting, trying to catch unsuspecting zebra or wildebeest as they cross the Mara River. Thanks, James. But yeah, they're no longer in our jurisdiction. So that is why you haven't heard of them. Please do spread the word, because Brent tried to explain the other day, people keep asking about those prides, but there is no way of us showing them to you. So erase them from the memory. Okay, interesting. We've got a question through from James Richards. Hello, James. Nice to know you're watching. You've asked whether or not the lion prides that have kind of shifted their territories due to the migration will go back to their old territories once the migration moves. I would like to start by saying, James, that we cannot be certain that the lions shifted their territory simply because of the migration. It's easy for us to assume that, and of course it is a very plausible theory. But of course, it could be for other reasons. You know, if we take the Sausage Tree Pride, for example, there were all these other lionesses that pitched up in their turf where they'd been hanging out for many weeks with Kipuli and the other dude. And all of a sudden, these other lionesses were there. Whether they fought or not, we're not sure. I'm guessing there were some kind of altercations because they wouldn't have just smiled and waved at one another. But that could be a reason why the Sausage Tree Pride pushed to where they are now. There's no need for them to stay. You know, when they first moved into this area, yes, this is where the first migrating herds came to, but that was, you know, months ago. They could easily have moved back into their territory, where now there are even more wildebeest than the area that they're staying in now. And that is something I was going to try and mention earlier, James. I just didn't manage to squeeze it in. When I said it didn't make sense to me that the 3 lionesses with the 2 cubs were heading in this direction, that's just from what I know. But we don't know what problems they may be having or what pressure they may be getting from those new lionesses or other lions that we're unaware of. So yeah, I think there's just too many variables, and we simply do not spend enough time with these animals to know enough about what happens when we're not around, which obviously leaves gaping holes in the story. Very good. We're going to sit tight and send you across to Sydney, who sounds like he has some elephants giving him a beady eye.
I have got the elephants now here with me. You can see it's quite a very big head. A lot of them already crossed much more towards the other side right behind me, and then whereas the rest are here on this side. So we can see them from here. This is quite a very beautiful sighting, as these elephants are so very much peaceful, and all they are doing, they are just feeding. They are not worried about anything. They don't have any stress at the moment. As you can see, it's beautiful with the reflection of the sun. Let's see how this elephant is going to be able to debug that. And that is not a dry branch. It looks dry, but that branch is very fresh, because I can see that it has just been taken off from a tree just now. So the elephants, when it comes to the dry season, they do cause quite a lot of damage. Paula, the elephants, you must check when they've got a matriarch. That matriarch is in charge, but you will see her together assisted by the other old sisters. So a matriarch system is consisted of the oldest matriarch together with a few daughters, which means the decision will be taken amongst those daughters in order to, because here it's not like by us whereby we've got to inaugurate who is taking over. Here, naturally, already those, some of the daughters who are assisting the matriarch, they are learning the knowledge, they know what to do and what not to do. Wild painted gene, the elephant has got a very interesting behavior. If one elephant dies when that female has got a little one, you must check the other female elephants which are on lactation period. Lactation period is a period of the animals while they are producing milk. The other females which are on this process of producing milk will have to take over and nurse the little one. So elephants are so very much good-hearted. So they don't want to see the little one starving because the mother has died. They take over and nurse and grow the little one, which is a very interesting behavior. So elephants, they've got quite a lot of things which are very common to the humans. So you can see that this elephant is feeding, but it's even, you look at that, it's trying to dig. You can see the elephants can be able to sniff water and dig very deep. Look at that. It's using the front foot in order to dig. So the elephants cause quite a lot of damage now during the dry season because the trees have got nutrients under the ground. Come rainy season, the trees are going to have the nutrients everywhere, and elephants won't worry too much. They will eat from the branches, but some of them are still going to push down trees in order to give their babies a good accessibility on the branches. So you can see he was digging there just to get hold of some of the roots, and is even taking some of the grass. I can see there he's trying to cut these roots which are coming from under the ground. So you can see another one is crossing right on the road. The big one is coming. This is going to be very, very magnificent. Look at that. This is a very big female coming to us now, and this female to me looks pregnant. This female who's coming now looks pregnant. Look at that. I can see that this one is pregnant. You can see that the side of the stomach is looking very big. Safari, Alvi, the elephants, they have to go through must just once a year. And not all elephants go through the stage of must. It's only the males who are sexually active who will have to go through must. And this must got to last for about 7 consecutive days. And in that 7 consecutive days, they have got to leak up to 80 liters a day. And what they secrete, the urine, it doesn't smell nice at all. It's quite a very distinctive scent. You can pick it up from a very, very long distance. And where they have been as well, you are going to keep smelling them for quite a while. Look at these elephants now. You can see they are now defecating and also urinating. What we have seen just now tells you that these elephants, they are not threatened at all. Normally, when the elephants are threatened, you will only see the droppings coming out without the urine. When animals are giving both droppings and urine, it means they are comfortable. But when threatened, they only got to excrete the droppings in order to offload the body weight so that they can be able to run away from danger. No, the elephant dropping smells nice. It smells like fresh broken branches. But sometimes it smells like the khaki box. So now we are going to a tailor who is still driving. A tailor is somewhere in the central part of Juma Game Reserve. I am by the side of Chitwa Dam now, so let's go to Taylor.
The elephant dung smells nice, fresh, I bet. I also do like the smell of elephant dung, but I like the smell of it when you burn it rather than the fresh dung if I can have a choice. Right, I feel like I've reenacted a scene from The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is an animated movie directed by Tim Burton. I always talk about it all the time because it's my favorite movie. I think my dad's watching. He calls it the Christmas Sticks. Anyways, it's not called the Christmas Sticks, but I can understand why. The reason why I say I've reenacted a scene is because I've been everywhere searching and searching for Hosanna, but it's kind of like when Jack Skellington, he disappears and no one can find him, and they drained the lake, they checked in the cemetery, they couldn't find him anywhere. We've gone around Gallagher Pan twice, we've stopped and listened about 700 times, we've even been behind the damn wall, but we could not find him at all. So I think we'll come back later. We're going to go back towards Treehouse Dam now and try our luck down there again. So I think we'll just, I'm just trying to decide. I think we might do all the way down Weaver's Nest and then do Savage's Track all the way to the dam. I think that's going to be the decision. I think. We'll see when I get there. I've still got a way to go. Oh, the flies are so annoying. I wish you could all experience how the flies just sit on your face all the time. It is so horrible because you know where they've been sitting. You know that they've been on some animal dung somewhere or some rotting carcass, and then they sit on your mouth. It's revolting. Ah, kudu. Hi, little kudu. No, don't run away. I'm going to just roll forward to get a better view of Mom. I think then if I go a little bit more, this gap, and then they think like we're passing it. We're not going to stop to look at them. There we go. A whole of 3 kudu. Goodness. Saving grace this afternoon. And then the glorious golden light too. Look how massive their ears are in comparison to the rest of their body. It doesn't matter how many times I see it. It's beautiful. I'm just thinking do you think if I put my foot on the clutch we'll roll? No, we're not going anywhere. I was going to try roll forward for VM, but luckily that kudu cow is on the move. And now she's stopping perfectly. You can hear how windy it is too. A little bit nervous, as they should be on a windy day like today. but it's fairly open, so they should be able to see anything that might be hiding away. The grass is not long, but there are a couple of bush willow trees and some silver cluster leaves that the elephants have broken down. That'll provide a bit of cover even for her. Be one with a tree. Lovely. Right, let's carry on to the dam. Barb, yes, the kudu have spectacular markings on their face. They are lovely. They are so lovely. So I'm just scanning across the open area and stamping my foot to try and get the flies off of my leg, just to see if anything catches my attention and maybe moves. Excuse me. Hopefully I didn't give any of you a fright. Maybe I did. Maybe I woke you up. There's another one coming, the dust. There's more to come this evening. That's for sure. Okay. I can't see anything down in the distance. Okay. We'll just jump straight onto Weaver's Nest then. We'll just keep going straight. I mean, I could be wrong. Tingana could not, maybe not, or whichever leopard it is, it might not be there. May have moved on ages ago, but it's worth a try to check the watering holes, just to give it a bit of a bash. Sydney's done all right this afternoon, though. He's at 2 different elephant sightings. That's great. Where? Vim just said that he saw a slender mongoose, hence me slamming on brakes. Not that I'm going particularly fast. I didn't even see it. Can you see it? Okay, keep an eye out. I'm going to keep going slowly, and you'll see we might be able to get around it. We'll actually switch off. See, he's probably run away by now, but it's worth a try. We saw another one at Buffelshoek Dam earlier, just hiding in the shade of a tree, but that's a good spot to hide away. All the thorns on there quite easily conceal and also protect the slender mongoose. Okay, there's one fat fly that's hanging around here. You may have heard it buzzing past the mics. I don't know how some of those flies get so big as well, and then they've got like the smallest little wings. And they're so slow at flying that you can almost just hit them on the bottoms and encourage them to go away. Play tennis with them. They're probably like, oh, I've never flown so fast in my life. Who knows? That's what I would think. Yeah, but we are getting to golden hour now. So this is the time when everyone's going to start to get active. So we'll be listening and looking for those cats. Right, back you go to Sydney, who, like I said, is having all the luck with the elephants.
You can see now I have got a small elephant, and this one is having some very green bush. I wonder where this little one got that little bush, which is still very much green at the moment, whereas the vegetation is completely dry. So you can see that the little one is coming right to me. Lovely. He's coming to say hi to me. Let's see how the little one is going to come. You know, little ones, they always want to try something. So the little one might try to show that he or she is growing. Look at that. This is amazing. Interacting with nature. This is a very nice close contact with the largest land mammal. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. You can see that these animals are so very confident and comfortable with our presence. This is good. This shows that these animals, they are still behaving their natural way. So their behavior is not modified at all. Look at that. So this one is now having some biltongs because to me, the vegetation this one is feeding on looks very much dry. And how it's breaking, oh, and it's not dry. So I can see that that one is not dry. So it's just that the tree and grasses, they are now under a stage called dormancy. The dormancy is a stage where the trees go to sleep for the whole dry season. And when the trees are sleeping, everything is still working. It's just that it's minimal in order to conserve the water and the nutrients. Because if there's too much things happening in the trees, otherwise it's going to need quite a lot of water. So the production is going very slow at the moment. So now let's go to the Masai Mara and see the male lion with coat.
Welcome back, everyone. Good news, it looks like the lion are waking up. And I've got some further good news thanks to Nicola Austin, our lion identification expert. If you look in the right eye of this individual, you'll see there's a small black spot. And that is what Nikki used to, oh, nice big yawn. Oh, he's got quite a few cuts on his, look at all those cuts. What have you been up to? I wonder who he's been fighting with and how fresh those wounds are. Anyway, Nikki knows from that little spot in his eye that this is one of the two Oldonyo Payek or Ingiraware or Cobra Corner pride males. It's a pride with multiple names, and it's the skittish pride that I spoke about earlier. So these two males oversee the pride of 12 that hangs out to the south of here. And it was just a misassumption that we didn't know who these guys were or where they were from. We have seen them, not a huge amount of time. So that's awesome. Well done, Nikki. Thank you for being so clever at knowing which lion's which. This is, now that he's got his head up, the guy with the receding hairline. Not nearly as impressive as the other male in this pride, who's got a few telltale dreadlocks in his mane. And we've also been able to establish that this is in fact Kinky Tail that is lying next to him. Hard to tell now because we can't see much of her face nor her tail, but James did see her flick her tail up a little bit earlier and saw the telltale kink in it. So that's that's as much of the tail as you can see for now, though. So we've got to the bottom of a few things that we weren't sure about earlier, which is awesome. Now I'm wondering where the other lioness and the other male could be, because the last almost over the last week they've been hanging around here, and they've usually been only a couple of 100 meters apart at the most. So I'm sure time will tell. There's a strong wind blowing now, and it's getting a little bit cold. So I've put on a jersey. Hello, Nancy Boo Boo. You would like to know if the size of the pride has an impact on the size of the pride's territory. And I would say yes. Ordinarily, the bigger the pride, the more strength they have, and the bigger and better their ability to secure a bigger territory. So I think, yeah, there is generally going to be a direct correlation between the pride size and their territory size. Of course, with more mouths to feed in a bigger pride, it makes sense for them to have more turf in which to be able to look for their food. However, in the same breath, as I said a little bit earlier, the dynamics of the prides in the Mara are in a kind of constant state of flux and are forever changing. And even a small pride like the Owino pride have got a really big territory, probably not the best patch of real estate regarding food outlets or food sources, but they do have a really big territory. So I guess that's also something to factor into the equation, Nancy Boo Boo, is you could have an apartment in New York that's worth millions, that is small, and then other people may prefer kind of life in a less favorable part of the world, where it's easier to have more land, but the land may not be as fruitful. Oh, nice big yawn coming. I wonder how he got those wounds on his face. Was it Kinky Tail swatting him about after their making of love? I'm surprised how long they've been going at it, because like I said, it's been quite a while now. Nancy, you ask a very good question. How would one lion know that the cubs are its own and not from another male? Let's see if they mate now, because when they move... Oh, I might need to move the car quickly. Which actually makes more sense, because now you've got a better view of the sunset. Let's give James some time there. You can see Kinky Tail's distinctive kink. I wonder why she got up so urgently. Having been flat in the grass, hardly moving about, all of a sudden she was like, it's time to get up and start moving. So I'm wondering if she's not wanting to catch up with the other lioness in this pride. What a beautiful scene. Two lovebirds strolling off into the sunset. Wonderful. Where are you going, Kinky Tail? Why have you got to be in your bonnet? Are they going to mate now? Yes, it looks like they are. Like I said earlier, it's fascinating that they are still mating. They have been mating for a long, long time now. And who knows whether this is just to try and win over these males, giving them what they want. I'm guessing that could be the tactic that Kinky Tail is employing. Often lioness will do that. They will give mating rights to males and let them really feel like they're important once they come into a new area with new males. Because ordinarily it's only 3 to 5 days of mating, but they've definitely been going for longer than that. Alright, I think we can get a little bit closer. So let's keep going. Hello Zephyr, you would like to know if Kinky Tail is possibly thinking of splitting. I think this is what you're asking, splitting from the original pride, because they have split up from some other lioness. Okay, it's a little... ordinarily, Zephyr, Nikki's just relayed the question. The signal was a little bit crackly earlier. You said if she's stepping out of her coalition. Females don't form coalitions, males form coalitions. It's just a term. But ordinarily, females form prides and males form coalitions. Males are not bound, often not bound to a set pride, but often oversee several prides. So a coalition of males may have 4 or 5 prides of females that they oversee. But yeah, I don't think she is necessarily going anywhere. I don't think she is ditching any of the other ladies within her pride. But you never know, because it does happen quite a bit here in the Masai Mara. There's a lot of splitting and rejoining and merging and strange things that happens with the lions in the Masai Mara. Why, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows the answer to the question, but it certainly is quite strange. Because ordinarily, lioness born to any given pride will stay in that natal pride for life. Beautiful, beautiful scenes here. Aren't we lucky, getting spoilt? I love being this far south at this stage of the evening, because you get the best evening light here. If we were further north now, the light doesn't spill through. And we are quite far south from camp. And isn't that just awesome? Ta-da! Well done, James. Showing everyone some beautiful, beautiful Mara scenes here. Wasn't it bizarre earlier how she just got up and went for a kind of power walk and then presented herself to Mr. Receding Hairline? We need to think of a name for him. And yeah, now back to bed. Also, I am interested as to why they are so empty-bellied. I mean, there's not huge amounts of wildebeest in the immediate area, but there certainly are. Let's take a quick look, just a little bit kind of towards 11 o'clock there, James. There are a lot of wildebeest, you know, within 10 minutes walking distance for lions out over there. Jacqueline, you would like to know if we know how old this male lion is. We don't have a clue how old he is, but I would guess that he's maybe 7, 8 years of age, in his prime, maybe a little bit past his prime. So difficult to tell unless, of course, you followed animals' lives from the get-go. Very little is known about the lions that linger here on the Tanzanian border. Oh, how nice is this light bursting through now. Absolutely epic stuff. Come on, stand up and do something, lions. John, you would like to know if male lions live longer than the females or vice versa. Ordinarily, the lioness will live longer than the males. The males live a rougher and tougher life, and they've got not constant, but they often have younger males coming in trying to oust them, whereas lioness don't have that problem. Lioness that get old thankfully have younger members in the pride. How beautiful is this? Younger members of the pride to kind of do all the hunting and do the hard work as they slowly become less useful with regards to contributing towards the pride. So it's easier to kind of coast along as a granny than it is to be a grandpa in the Lion Kingdom. Well, we're going to send you from one beautiful sunset scene in Kenya down to Taylor with another one in South Africa.
We've been having a lot of luck, at least, with the sunsets over the past 2 days. We did have a martial eagle that was up in that knobthorn tree at one point. Would you like to see a photo? Let's show you a photo. I'll even just zoom it in a little bit so you can see. It's just something we don't get to see all the time. Isn't that awesome? And then, look what's on my hand. Oh no, it's flown away now. Anyway, so that was quite nice. But I don't know where it's gone again. The go-away birds and things started whining, and then, as you can imagine, it flew off. Now, I'm just checking because I think my imagination... No, it's just a Logosaurus. We also seem to be having something interesting happening with our camera. It's making a bizarre sound, so at some point we're going to have to just reboot that. It's weird, it's going tick, 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 which is not great. It's not ideal in Safari. I think the wind will muffle out that sound. Well, it should. So we haven't actually had any, like, we checked Treehouse Dam, nothing. I think we'll go back, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go around, I'm going to do a figure of 8, but around Treehouse Dam to Gallagher Pan. Oh. Paula, no, I don't think anybody has seen Janet Jackson lately, or Genevieve, for that matter of fact. Genevieve is the Janet that comes to visit us in camp. Janet Jackson, I haven't gone to look for her. And VM... And then VM has also only just come back the same time as me, so he wouldn't have gone looking for Janet Jackson. Yeah, Nikki wants to meet Genevieve. Genevieve, I think, was a girl. Is such a cool Janet. I don't know where it's gone though. Somewhere. Did you see Janet? Where did you see? Oh, did you check it? Aha! VM says Janet Jackson was not in her hole in the tree on the fire break, which normally he or she normally lives. We don't know the sex of that one. So, yeah, but we'll keep an eye out. It's nice now, again, this one time of the year, we can typically see the more of the nocturnal creatures just because it's so open. I'm also going to keep an eye out for little owls that might be sitting, looking like Christmas decorations on the tree. We'll search for them. Maybe we see the southern white-faced scops owls again that we saw last night. That was very cool. That was actually unbelievably cool. Ooh, look at that, Viam. I'm going to stop here because hopefully that kudu is going to walk a little bit to the left. Isn't that incredible? Look at his beard, it's all lit by the sun, it's stunning. See, I think you might be able to hear that ticking sound now. He's gorgeous, he's just standing there, pretending like we can't see him. He's barely moved. Bob, I've never seen the lesser kudu before. I'm trying to think where they occur. Don't they occur like in Zimbabwe and areas like that? I've never had the opportunity to see it. Maybe in some parts of South Africa too. And oh, Nikki's just said there's some lesser kudu in Samburu, which is in Kenya, also a wilderness area. I've never seen one before. I've only ever seen the greater kudu, and they are spectacular. So we don't get any of them around here, unfortunately. That is so lovely. I don't know when I last saw a big kudu bull either. He's a beautiful specimen. I mean, if he'd like to go and stand on a termite mound so we can get some silhouetted shots, I mean, that would be nice. That would be really nice, in fact, but I don't think he'll be particularly accommodating. He's just interested in eating. What's good, he's comfortable with us, even on this windy day. He didn't run. Got his head tucked right down. He's not eating grass, I don't think. I think he's probably eating a small little shrub. Just picking the leaves. But they do eat grass, especially after the first big rains we've had and any green shoots come through. They will start to nibble on them too. Must taste a whole lot better than old brown leaves, which can't be very tasty. Just nibbling away. What is the time now? I'm just deciding. 6:25. This is leopard time. But where are they? Okay, so we'll do our figure of 8 again. We'll go back around towards the pans. John, I'm going to go ahead and say kudu's got fairly big and strong horns. I mean, so does an eland, but eland's horns don't get anywhere near the length of a kudu bull's. Maybe a waterbuck, but on average the kudu horns are longer. Sable have got pretty strong horns too, and they gemsbok. Oh, there's a little duiker which we can have a little look at. I like the way that they, obviously the flies are bothering that little duiker, trying to kick them off. Don't worry, they're annoying us too. And I decided not happy to hang around. Bye. I'm hoping I'm just going to look over my shoulder and there'll be a leopard walking towards me, but I don't know if I'll be so lucky. Right, Sydney, as you know, is back on Juma. I'm sure he's also looking for leopards. Let's, well, hope give him a helping hand. I don't know how we're going to do that, but maybe just by me saying that, we'll somehow give him some luck.
Yes, I am now back at Juma, and now my next plan is a spotted cat. So I am going down towards the area where I have seen the fresh tracks of a leopard. The leopard that I missed this morning while I was on a guided walk, I'm going to carry on from previous now. The chances, they are very high because I saw where he got disappeared. So, but now I am going to pass by the Buffalo's Hook Dam so that I can try my luck to see if I can come across the beautiful Thandi and Kalamba in the area. But so far I have not yet picked up the fresh tracks. Yeah, it is still very much quiet and I'm not even seeing the prey animals here. So I'm just looking everywhere. It will be very great if we see Thandi or Kalamba. So now let's see the unspotted cat with Brent by the Masai Mara, who's got the lovely lion. Oh, Scott.
Hey, I'm not Brent, don't worry. Brent hasn't thrown me out of the car. Sydney obviously has had a long day in the hot sun. But we've switched over to IR, infrared. Not that it's pitch black yet, but because it's kind of getting dark. And to be honest, we're midway through a coffee break because we've been out since midday. We need to recharge some caffeine. And while we were pouring the coffee, the lions got up and moved a little bit too far away from us to be able to film them in color. So that is why we've switched over to infrared. Oh, just had a sip of coffee. Need some more sugar. Not enough sugar in there. Look at all those wildebeest in the background. Incredible. They really pop out in the IR. So plenty of food. Only 10 minutes away if they were to walk. Cal 6, you would like to know when can we expect the crossings to reverse when the wildebeest begin to head back. And it doesn't really work like that, Cal 6. Let me pull out the old map, the trusty map, and show you what I mean. All good, James, I'm ready when you are. So here is the map, and ordinarily what happens, Cal 6, is that the wildebeest will enter the Mara. Just go down a bit, James, thank you, in two ways. They either come up from an area called the Lamaya Wedge into the western part excuse me, the western parts of the Masai Mara. That's kind of less. That's not the majority ordinarily. Then the main portion of the migration usually comes in and crosses over the Sand River over here. So the migration splits further south in Tanzania and then enters the migration within two corridors. What you tend to find is that the main herds come in through here and then will cross from east to west into the Mara Triangle, which means the Mara Triangle is probably the best place to be situated if you want to photograph and see crossings, because you've got the animals coming towards you. And that has been the steady flow this way. Once they all come across here, then they tend to head back south. I don't remember exactly what happened last year. Thanks, James, done with the map. I don't remember exactly what happened last year, but basically, as far as I remember, it's more crossing from east to west and then going back south to Tanzania. I don't remember them, when it's time to leave, all crossing back over again and then going south. So yeah, Cal 6, what we can expect to see is just less and less river crossings, and then less and less wildebeest as they slowly move south. Again, it's not it's cast in stone, it's not a set schedule. We've got a little bit more movement from the lions. Thanks, James. James just pointed. He obviously spotted out the corner of his eye there. So definitely a lot more activity from the lovebirds as the weather cools down and the sun begins to set. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to find out where the other two are. I'm going to have a quick scan with my binoculars and see if I can't see any heads up in the grass off in the distance. Doesn't look like anything where I'm looking for now. Janine, you would like to know what is the largest kind of coalition of male lions one could expect to find. Ordinarily, 5. You know, 5 is a big number. However, there have been kind of reports of bigger coalitions, but I'm not convinced. I'm not actually convinced by it. You know, having 7 young males roaming around together, they're not a coalition yet, and often 1 or 2 get pipped along the way and probably only 4 or 5 get left. A lot of you will remember chats about the sky bed males, I think, from the Manuletti, of which there were 9. From what I've heard recently, those 9 have all disbanded. I'm not sure, into groups of 3 or 4 and 5, or some have died. But, you know, that's just 9 young males that disperse from their pride together. But they're not necessarily going to form an active working coalition that is dominant over a territory. So it's a good question. I'll put it out there to you guys, if any of you know of any coalitions bigger than 5 that are actually operational. On that, Cull 6, you often find with the big coalitions of 5 that once they've kind of set up shop, they kind of don't spend nearly as much time together. So you'll find they come into the area together, establish themselves, and then you very, very seldom, if ever, see all 5 of them together. They'll kind of be in groups of 2 or 3, or, you know, sometimes they'll be alone. But yeah, they kind of operate in smaller pods once they have set up shop, as a general rule. So I hope that helps. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys if there are any kind of documented coalitions bigger than 5 that are functioning. Okay. Just scanning around behind me to see if the other lions that I'm expecting to be in this general area have got up, but doesn't seem to be the case. One last check right behind us. No, nothing over there. Very good. I'm going to add some more sugar to my coffee and enjoy it, and you are going to enjoy being in the company of Taylor.
You're going to try. Scott, the only other coalition I've heard of that's quite big was the skybed males here in Kruger, actually, I think near Orpen Gate. But I don't know when they were last all seen together. If I'm not mistaken, I think there were 9 males. Yeah, about 9, weren't there? Somewhere around there. But yeah, there might be a couple of them left, but I don't think all of them are still alive anymore. I'm excited to see what happens with the Olololo Pride, because most of those youngsters in that pride are all males, and they're all relatively sort of similar ages, a couple of months between them, but that doesn't mean much at all. I wonder if they all leave together. How crazy would that be? I think aren't there also 9? 9 of those youngsters are males? We'll see. I completely forgotten. But yeah, it is a lot, Nikki, can you imagine? And I don't know if Mara has ever potentially seen a coalition that big. John, I don't know if lions ever get jealous. Here's the buffalo. BM, remember is it all of them? That's a very difficult one to answer. When I learn to speak to the animals, John, I'll be sure to ask the lions if they ever get jealous. Sometimes you see it, I suppose, when they're mating. It's not, no, oh no, they're at the pan. Let's go to the pan, Liam. You see them when they're mating and there's more than one male around. They have a squabble, and then the strongest one will mate with the female for the first little bit. And oh, there's buffalo and elephants. Yes. Woo! Hosanna! If you can come out as well, that'd be wonderful. I think this explains why the buffalo ran away like that. I couldn't work out what was going on. I actually thought Hosanna had maybe come out of the tree line, but it's not. It's the elephants. Hi guys, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, it's been ages. But we're gonna probably gonna watch the elephants. Oh, there's a tiny little baby. Almost just gonna quickly scan to see if Hosanna's maybe sitting watching the sighting too. If I was a leopard, I'd sit and watch this. This is nice. This is absolutely lovely. Yeah, that little one. You can't take water out of your mum's mouth. That's hers. You also can't grab it, little elephant. It's water. Poofy Poof, that's a wonderful handle you've got there. I'm pretty sure that the locals will use elephant dung to make fires. I sometimes use it when it's dry. as tinder to get a fire going, but it's also really awesome, and I talk about this often, it's also really cool for insect repellent. And it doesn't smell bad at all. So this is a pump pan. Remember we were talking about the 2 pump pans on Djuma Private Game Reserve. You can see the water spewing out. And now you might watch some of those elephants actually trying to drink straight from it. I like the fact that they've made that pipe a lot shorter now, because normally when there's a big black pipe there, the elephants will play on it. They'll chew it, they'll throw it around. It becomes quite a nice toy for them. There we go, little elephant. You found the water now. And they do like to drink lovely clean water, especially if the buffalo have got in there and wallowed around. I'm hoping the buff will still come back once these ellies move off. And turtle dove better be careful, keep out of the way, it is running. You can't have a drink yet, you'll have to wait your turn. Oh, they're all coming. That one almost got sprayed. Yes, scenic. Elephants most certainly have a characteristic smell. They smell very earthy. You know the smell of petrichor, sort of when the rain hits the surface of the earth? It kind of smells like that, but also not really, not to that extent. Elephants have a very unique smell. There's 3 more ellies that are coming to join the rest of the group. I don't know if they're from the same herd. Making a bit of noise. It didn't seem to mind that youngster. Let's see what happens when this big cow comes on in. She bosses and pushes everybody out of the way. Oh no, must be a part of the same herd. Typically, if 2 different herds of elephants meet at a small watering hole like this, you can get a bit of tension. As you can imagine, we were talking about earlier today about how animals start competing for water. And everybody wants to have, you know, the first bit without having to compete with anyone. They can trumpet at one another, but I think that was maybe just a bit of excitement from some of the youngsters. Very quiet out here too. Not much in terms of sounds coming from the birds. Perhaps they've already given their last call. Who are you spraying unnecessarily like that? They didn't just look. I mean, if you want to come and do that to us, I'll be so happy. I also wouldn't mind being hosed down. Please, can you spray us? Liam, how happy would you be if an elephant walked over here right now and just sprayed us full of water?
Might be nice.
It might be nice.
The camera would like it.
The camera wouldn't, but we'd put a jersey over it. You wouldn't be able to watch it, everyone. It'll just be for Liam and I. Put the rain cover on. Although that thing is not particularly quick to put on. Rita, occasionally we see albino animals, but it isn't a very common thing to see out here. We see more leucistic animals than anything. But albino animals out here, man, imagine. And you can imagine out here in the harsh African sun how it wouldn't be ideal. Nikki was just saying apparently there was a young elephant that had quite a bit of, it will sort of look like it had the albino gene, which is quite cool. I don't know if I've ever seen it. Oh, Noel saw it. Okay, very interesting. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever seen that before. This is so cool. Got long legs. The buffalo trying to creep on in. You can see there's one buffalo. That might be what the elephant is spraying at every now and then, just saying to that old bull, like, hey, keep away. We got this. There's our water hole. Now, Gizmo, on a hot day like today, I'm pretty sure elephants will be drinking more than usual because it is abnormal and there's water around and available for them. So anywhere between 120 and 150 litres of water a day a fully grown elephant can drink. And they can hold about 10 litres of water in their trunk. But as you can see, they're quite messy when they drink, and a lot of it ends up on the ground or on their bodies. The little elephant playing with the water. What are you doing? Does that feel nice? Oh, that's lovely. Oh yes, now they're getting so excited. No one's going in just yet though. You can see how they're all standing on top of one another. Like I said, it's not a very big watering hole, just a small one. It is very peaceful indeed. So this is an average size herd of elephants, I would say. I mean, typically you would see elephants in Kenya, in South Africa, between 10 and 30 elephants in a herd. So John, I mean, elephants can get to exceptional numbers, but typically it's quite a few different family groups all joined together. So you'll very rarely find a group of 100 elephants that consistently live with one another on a day-to-day basis. So normally in the dry season, you'll see big herds of animals all congregate together and move together in search of food and water. And then, I mean, in Zambia, in the Zambezi National Park, I saw so many big herds of elephants, 200 or 300 all the time. In Kruger, you can see that too. And I have seen it in the southern Sabi Sands, where I've seen herds of over 100. But again, not just one family group. I'm wondering now, with these elephants hogging this watering hole, and we know buffalo aren't particularly patient, they might end up going down towards Vuyatela Pan. So, perhaps that's exactly what we will do. Nikki has just said that the buffalo have arrived at Vuyatela Pan. So we'll see you there, and off we go to the Mara with Scott and see how those lions are.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm not too sure what's got these lions' attention, whether they possibly heard audio of other lions. They both kind of pricked their heads up and looked off to the west. We haven't got ourselves in the best position with regarding a frontal view of them, and the reason being is that it has started raining, or drizzling rather, and let's keep quiet while they do their thing. It appears like the man is having trouble with his aim. Finally managed to get it right. Why didn't... Oh, listen carefully. He let off one. Ooh, I thought he was going to start bellowing out a loud roar, which would have been absolutely awesome. So as I said, we've got a little bit of drizzle here. Very moody evening, the wind is howling. And I'm hoping that we are going to get lucky and see these guys reunite with some other Pride members. Definitely not the three lioness with the two cubs, because that will prove fatal for those young cubs, as I've said earlier. But at least the other lioness and the other male from the Old Donyo Payek Pride. I forgot if I was answering somebody's question, possibly, as they started to mate, or if I was talking about something. I forgot exactly what it was. I think it was actually just that we weren't in the best position. Anyway, we've dropped one of the flaps. So we've got the kind of wind blowing into one dropped flap. So for now we're okay. But it's going to be possibly a slow drive home. We're probably an hour away from camp from here. And sadly the windscreen wiper has gone missing from my vehicle, so that will make things a little bit slower. Anyway, windscreen wipers are quite a new addition. We survived the whole of last year without them. Because we can flop the windscreens up and down, we've got the windscreen wipers ready to deploy as and when we need them. Ravinda and Sean, I agree with you. Yes, this male lion is looking quite skinny, especially considering the migration bounty is in town. Oh, what a beautiful scene with his mane blowing in the wind. So yeah, who knows? Maybe he's a little bit older than I initially thought he was. A little bit earlier, somebody asked how old I think it could be. Maybe he's older than I thought. Possibly that's why he's not in the best nick. He's got skinny hips like Scar, and Scar's old. So I mean, I think it's fair to deduce that maybe this guy's a little bit older than I initially guessed him to be. Because again, at this time of the year with so much food around, even though he's been a bit preoccupied the last week or so with mating, I did see them with a wildebeest kill, probably 4 days ago, when I was taking my folks around before I started work again. So it's not to say that they haven't been eating, but probably not as much as they would have been had they have not had these lovely ladies distracting them. But even before that week there would have been lots of feasting, but I guess, yeah, he's just not in his prime, not as big and strong as a 7 or 8 year old should be. Minamu, you'd like to know if mating pairs will hunt together? Probably not. You'll probably find the lioness does most of the work. Maybe, a male will come in and help her bring down a wildebeest. But, yeah, as a general rule, the men can be quite lazy, and it'll be the women who lead by example. I actually haven't been in the presence of mating lions when they hunt. I'm trying to rack my memory. And no, I can't think of any scenarios. I remember a mating pair of leopard that did some hunting midway through their courtship. And that was the female that got up and kind of did the work. Definitely we can't compare male leopards to male lions, because male leopards ordinarily have to fend for themselves most of the time, unless of course they steal from one of their girlfriends, which they do, but they definitely don't cash in on their ladies' food as much as the male lions would. Whew, the wind is howling. It's gone from a seriously hot day to a windy, drizzly evening, which is good because we need as much rain as possible. Things are quite dry here at the moment. Very, very good. I'm probably thinking of spending another 10 or 15 minutes here and then slowly start bimbling down into the direction where we last saw the 3 lioness with the 2 cubs to see if we don't have any luck with them. So we'll probably have one more session with these guys, but for now we're going to send you back down to Sydney.
I've just managed to pick up the very fresh track of a leopard, and I'm not too sure which leopard is this one, but the track is now going towards Mbubu Road. So I'm just going to now investigate where this track is going, and I am very sure that the tracks that I'm having now is the track for an animal that you have just missed this morning, because they are in the same area and where I left them this morning. So I can see that here this animal came in and out, and it was a lot of things happening. So I'm going to try and follow these tracks and see. But to me, the tracks, they are very convincing. They look very, very pretty fresh. So they look very, very, very fresh. So I'm going to check down this road here and see if there is no luck. Yeah, I can see that the tracks, they got disappeared here. So it means this animal is walking somewhere alongside this drainage line. Yeah, that is my hope as well. I'm hoping at least to find one of these cats. And the tracks, they were very much fresh. So I'm very convinced that this leopard is somewhere here. Oh, here comes the ground hornbill. I can see the ground hornbill is high up there on top of the tree. Can you see it, Senzo? Yeah, right on top of the tree there. I saw it. It's not clear, but I can see that there's a ground hornbill right on top of that. Yes, right there. Yeah, that is the ground hornbill. Yeah, I can see this ground hornbill is facing the other side, but looking at the shape and everything, it's easy to tell that is a ground hornbill. It's one of the big birds, and I like the call they make. If you don't know the ground hornbills, you might even think it's something very dangerous, because you will hear the sound such as mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. So it's like the people in a meeting agreeing and disagreeing on something. So when it's a lot of them, you are not going to think that this noise is from the birds. You're going to think that, no, maybe there's a serious discussion and people are agreeing and disagreeing on something. So these animals such as ground hornbills is the animals that prefers to spend much time near the water holes, because they like to feed on some of the animals such as the frogs. And frogs have got quite a lot of moisture. These kind of birds, it's difficult for them to drink because they've got a very long beak which cannot be able to collect water. So instead, in order to overcome that challenge, they've got to feed on very fresh insects, as well as some of these amphibians such as the... So now, let's go back to Taylor and see how the buffaloes are doing.
There's so many of them. Well, the first group has come in and had a little drink, and now the second group are making their way towards the pan, which is lovely. Really, really nice to see big herds of buffalo. I mean, again, it's good size herd. Definitely a good size herd. But it's not just the buffalo that have all lined up like that. They've all got their heads down, eyes closed, quenching their thirst after a long, long day. Now, buffalo actually typically drink twice a day. They normally drink in the morning, and then later again, just before the sun sort of sets, they'll drink once more. Again, on exceptionally hot days like today, even the animals that aren't necessarily water dependent, if they do come across something where they can drink from, they'll most certainly do that. And there's impala just here off to the left that are terrified. That's Vuyatelo Lodge that you can see in the background. I don't know if there's any guests at the moment because that's been very quiet. And that ram does not look impressed. Oh, there's a... Oh, it's... Oh no, I was going to say it's not scuba. That's the water thickney. Hello, look at your big eye. Oh, just marching straight past it. Finally brave enough to come down for a drink. Notice how it's for the older rams that are kind of leading the way there. Those youngsters were not too sure. And there's two ewes also. It's very pretty with a reflection of the colours of the sky on the water. Bit of an argument happening there. Not surprised. Yes, buffalo, if you come around this way, it's much easier. Chris, I haven't seen any sign of lions other than the very old tracks near Treehouse Dam from when the Ngahuma Pride came through about 2 days ago. They didn't stay for very long, sadly. Was it 2 days ago? Yeah, it was. What's going on there? Betty wants to get out. There's no way for her to squeeze on through. Oh no, the big bull that's now barged into that open gap. Yes, Aidan, this is indeed a man-made pan. We've been chatting about it for most of the afternoon, how we only have two pumped pans and this being one of them. This is Voyatella Pan, and then we're at Galago Pan earlier with the elephants, and also some buffalo, or the rest of this herd. There are a lot of artificial watering holes out in the Greater Kruger area, but they're trying to close a lot of them. Beard, yes, I think the nest cams, are they working? I think maybe we're just not broadcasting from them at the moment, but I think that they are still, yeah, we're not, Nikki's just confirming we're not broadcasting from the nest cams at the moment. But yes, they do still work. Very cool. I'm trying to actually remember when there's one of the cameras now, when I last saw a big herd of buffalo. I don't think it could have actually been last year. I don't think I saw a decent herd of buffalo March, April, May, June. I don't think I saw any actually. Maybe a handful, a few Dagger boys here and there. Janine, the horns itself aren't supplied with blood because they're made from keratin. However, there is bone at the base of the skull that the keratin sheaths sort of fit over. So I suppose around that area there'll be some kind of source of blood, but actually to the horns itself, no. So if a buffalo were to break the tip of its horn, I'm sure it'll be sore. I don't think that they would feel very much at all. It's kind of like the equivalent of just clipping your nails. That's very pretty hair with the pinks and purples in the sky. However, VM has got one request, and I have to, of course, listen to VM. VM says he'd like to go and check Treehouse Dam one more time before the show ends, because we think we're going to find Tingana there. So we're going to say goodbye to the buffalo now, and we're going to head on south down that way. But it's nice to see the buffalo. Keep watching the dam cam, of course, in case any lions come about. Then call us there quickly. Off you go to Scott.
Okay, well, I'm hoping Treehouse Dam produces the goods. I've had many a wonderful sighting over there. Sadly, the lions have moved, it's raining, and that means that we cannot use the wind to help us in staying with them. When they're stationary, we can film, but when they move, we cannot. So we're going to drop the flaps and start heading home. Who knows what we may bump into, and who knows, maybe the weather will clear. But for now, we are sadly in a bit of a predicament. So you can see this flaps down over here. This is the one, you can see how the wind's blowing in towards us. So that's what's been helping keep us dry. But now we are in a spot of bother. So goodbye for now, and hopefully the rain will stop and we'll be able to get you back on board and put the flaps back up. But for now, we're going to wrap up, start heading home, and send you back to Sydney.
I am now just approaching this Mvubu Road from the Galagopen area, because the tracks I have seen, they are heading towards Galagopen area, and I'm not too sure if this animal, the cat, is somewhere around here. So I'm just going to hang around here and see. Maybe he's just standing by for the elephants and the buffaloes to have... Maybe the cat is somewhere here hiding, waiting for the elephants and the buffalo to have a drink here, for them to come afterwards. Oh, the elephants are still at the pen. To me. Now you can see that here is only the elephants at the moment who are in this area. And the buffalo has been here as well. Maybe if I can try my luck much more towards this side, I might find this leopard standing by to come and have a drink. Cold cider Unfortunately, I haven't tried something like that here in the Drakensberg area. But yes, in Waterberg, the mountain which is much more further east of the Limpopo, further west of the Limpopo province, that is where I have done the hiking by the Waterberg mountain range. It's very, very quiet here where I am now, but I'm going to try the other alternative road because I'm very much convinced that this leopard is coming much more towards the Galago Pan. Patrick, I was born here in South Africa. And I come from a place called Venda. That is where I am originally from. And Venda is in Limpopo province. Limpopo province is part of the 9 provinces of South Africa. And Venda is much more towards far north of the Limpopo province. I grew up there and I used to participate a lot on the traditional sports. And one of the sports that we are doing there in Venda, it is boxing. We used to, we used to fight boxing a lot with bare hands. And I used to be very, very good there. And during those days, I used to do something like this. When I'm going for boxing, I used to do this. When going for boxing, when I go to the middle, I used to show that I am going to hurt you and I am very much dangerous. I used to hit here like, so you can see that is when I'm trying to scare them that hey, I'm very dangerous and I am going to win this fight. So my neck is very used to that. I can make quite a lot of noise from there, especially in a closed area. So boxing is one of the sports that is very famous in Venda, and until we are still having a traditional boxing which is taking place, and people, they are even taking it into consideration because it's even televised at some stage. By December, Boxing Day is televised and it's done by the street or by the ground. You will just see everybody there watching, and the rules are interesting. If you want to challenge somebody, when I'm in the middle of the circle, I can just point, even the spectators, I'm going to point you that come and try me. And if you want to try, they will open the path and then you come in and then we fight. And whoever's going to get tired must have to raise the hand as a sign of submission and then we'll take you out. But some of the guys are too clever. They come in and they're going to hit you hard. And after that, they raise the hand that they're submissive, but then they've won. So it's a very interesting and complicated arrangement. So the spectators as well, they come and try. So it's not like there is a fixture, like I'm going to fight Senzo today. No, we just go there and then we just start pointing each other. Whoever wants to try, just go into the middle and then they open a space and it happens. I can be very much intimidating when I'm going for those kind of sports. And when I hit there, I know when I'm pointing, nobody is going to come to the middle. But I know when it starts, sometimes it can be very much hard. So now, let's go to Taylor, who's driving, and see how Taylor is doing.
We are doing just fine, except for the fact that the chances of VM and I finding a leopard for you are slim to none, and I'll tell you why. It's because we just imagined an entire herd of animals. We're driving down Philemon's cut line, and I went, oh look, what's that? Are those, I think I said, what did I say first? Elephants. Are those elephants or something? And we were like, oh no, that's he's more. Oh, it's a herd of wildebeest. It's definitely a herd of wildebeest. And as we started to get closer, we realized it was just trees. So I don't know if we're going to be finding you a leopard, but we were both convinced that there was a group of animals there. Not that, I mean, the lack of eye shine should have spoken volumes to me, but it didn't. It didn't. I need to go to bed now. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm so excited to go home and shower because it's been so dusty and so hot. So basically all the dust is just stuck to us. I think my face must be filthy because I've touched my hands on my face quite a few times. What? I was like, oh my gosh, what? I heard of what? Oh, there's a scrub hare drinking. There's 2 scrub hares drinking and some daycare. Well, there were 2 daycares, but they're running away now. There they go. I think it was Mom and Youngster, but the scrub hares are still there. You know what? I'll put a little bit of extra light on, not much though. Hello. Every time I see them though, I just think of Willem the rabbit. Oh, the game drive radio is live. I don't know where all the people have come from. The game drive radio has been non-existent for pretty much the entire day until now. They're like leopards and coming out after dark. No, not something that you see every single day. Again, another animal that is exceptionally vulnerable. I mean, an owl could fly out of nowhere and grab one of them. Oh, was that a nightjar or a drongo that flew towards... I don't know what that was. Oh, there might be bats. I think there are quite a few. No, there's a nightjar and there's bats flying around it. That's what you're seeing every now and then. You see there? So that's probably a fiery neck nightjar. Trying to catch the insects. Must be quite a few hanging around the water too. Very nice camera work for him. There it is. Hello, nightjar. Okay, let's go around. Measure the difference between an owl and an owlet is size. An owlet, as you can imagine, is rather small in size, and owls are typically much larger. I don't know what other differences there are because, no, I think that's probably it. It's literally just the size of them. I don't know how small an owl needs to be to become an owlet. That, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to. Where is this pesky cat? Tingana, come out now. Show yourself to all of us, please. Nah, he's not here. He could still be sleeping. My safari, I've been looking for both of those cats. I've been searching this afternoon for Tingana and Hosana. Like I said, I've been doing a figure of 8 around Gallico Pan and then down to Treehouse Dam and around. This is the 3rd time we've come to Treehouse Dam this afternoon because there were big male leopard tracks that go off just behind us. So I've been circling the area, checking obviously the prominent watering holes. Like I said, I think if whichever cat it would be would want to quench their thirst after the hot day we've had. So that's the idea anyways, but at this rate I don't know if we're going to be lucky enough. So I'm just scanning, checking very carefully because he does like this area. There's lots of prey around, as you've seen, although I don't think Tingana really wants to eat a scrub hare, nor Hosana. I think Hosana catches for sport and Tingana's way past that. He just catches because he has to eat. Now we have the battle of the mic cable getting stuck. Yep, he's falling out. That's my favourite. We haven't heard any rasping sounds, which is unusual. So maybe Tingana has a kill somewhere and he's now hiding. I see some eyes in the bushes, but they're too far away to be able to tell you what they are. Probably an impala. Yeah, big herd of impala. Poofy poof. I've grown fond of your name. What's that now? Now the bats and things like that will typically be roosting up in any trees that have got a bit of sort of cover. So something like a jackalberry tree. If there are any big fig trees. Oh, it's another vehicle that's driving and their lights just flashing through the trees. Any trees at this time of the year, even if you know you have a big thatched outdoor area, you'll find lots of bats around there. We go to Skakuza Airport, which is just further south from where we are. Loads, so many bats hanging in the thatching. It's something I've been trying to find as we're walking on bushwalk when I go down into the drainage lines, is searching for, I thought along the back jackalberry trees, because there'll be a lot of Megachiroptera, so the fruit-eating bats that would be feasting on the fruit from the jackalberry trees or fig trees or whatever, but we don't have many fig trees here, but we do have lots of the jackalberry trees. So I thought that maybe we would see, you know, lots of dung, or even where the fruit had been eaten and they've dropped it, but I haven't seen anything. So we'll keep on looking. You don't look carefully for the bats. Sometimes you find them. I know people who find some of the smaller bats, or the Microchiroptera, the insect-eating bats, like in between the folds of big leaves from like a large, no, what do they call? Large-fruited bush willow. Sorry, I forgot the name of the tree for a second. So you can find them. You just got to spend a bit of time looking. It's not easy though either. Definitely something that would be cool to find on a safari. Is Tuesday. Impala crossing. Thank you. It's a four-way stop. Although I didn't actually stop. My bad. Luckily there's no cops. Right, Sydney's doing exactly what we're doing. Spotlight out, patrolling around. He's looking for Hosana.
I am now looking for these cats here where I am, and I'm heading much more towards the gate at the moment just to try my luck, because I have lost the tracks of the cat, spotted cat. I'm sure the tracks that I saw, it was for a leopard. But now I'm just trying my luck much more towards the gate to see if maybe I'm gonna come across any other big cats such as the lion, due to the presence of the buffaloes here. So I'm checking if the lions are having some interest on the buffaloes in this area. And Nina Moo, the trekking courses and the trekking courses and the skills with regards to trekking, not an easy exercise, because you've got to learn quite a lot of varieties. We lose birds as well. So it's something that takes a lot of time. It's time consuming, and also the season differs. Like to learn the treks during the dry season when it's too windy is difficult, but to learn the treks during the rainy season, is an easy exercise. So I was saying the treks, in order to learn and obtain the necessary skills, is a very long process, and it goes hand in hand with the experience, because you must have to be learning to identify the treks, and then you must learn to judge the treks. Then you must be able to learn to identify the individuals. And you must be able to learn what was happening on the ground before you got there. You can distinguish between all these things. So there's quite a lot of technicalities. You have to learn quite a lot of strategies to understand what has been happening there before you. So now we can go back to one of my colleagues and see what they're having at the moment. I'm going to carry on and see if I'm going to find something.
Nothing. We've still got absolutely nothing. It's been a very quiet game drive. Thank goodness for the elephants and the buffalo that we had. Phew. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the Nkahumas, or the Evoke males, come prancing onto the property and pull down a buffalo. It'll be nice. I can't believe I haven't seen lions once since I've been back. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And I love them so much. So I'm concentrating, I'm trying to find all the animals for you, because I'm sure you're sick of listening to me talk absolute nonsense, but I'm sorry, the wildlife is just not cooperating today. Being useless. Come on, animals. Help us. Help me help you. Not even a Janet or anything tonight. Especially tonight's such a good night for these nocturnal creatures to go out on the hunt. Because it is so warm, well, the few insects that are around are definitely buzzing about. I'm seeing them every now and then as they hit the beam of my spotlight. We clearly saw at Treehouse Dam that there is something going on there with the nightjar flying around and all the bats. Sorry, my earpiece keeps falling out, and then I can't drive and shine the spotlight. It becomes too much. Something flew in there, but I don't know. Jenny, you know, seeing a bush baby would be great. I'd just be happy to see anything, to be honest. I would still like to have another nice owl sighting. That would be lovely. But I don't care what we see. I'm looking for anything that has a heartbeat. Maybe we'll see those rock monitors again. We'll check that tree, because we are going there. Just remember where. I'm just trying to remember where that tree was. It was on Twin Dams Road. It was just up here. Very quiet indeed. No snakes. Even a little snaky would be great. A little puff adder. I'm just going to keep asking for puff adders because that's like the only snake I really want to see. Ooh. I think that was an owl. I've seen lots of puff adders on Juma, Nikki, but not recently. I don't know where it went. There was an owl that flew in here. Can you see it? Nah, I think it actually went into the bushes behind. Sneaky, sneaky. I don't know what owl it was, but it definitely was a little owl. An owlet. Okay, we're coming up to the rock monitor tree. Just check down there. Nothing. Ew. How cool was that the other night though? It was a pity it was a school drive, so I couldn't really focus on it. Linseed, my favorite creature to see in summer. I don't know. All the things. I like all the animals. Maybe seeing the gerbils. There we go. Gerbils are my favorite one. I'm just going to choose that one. Yes, I like it when we see. I like when we see the rodents. That's cool. That's quite nice because they're unusual and they're normally just a quick glimpse of them. I don't know what that was, but I didn't want it on me. Bug landed on my hand, sorry. Just a flick away. Okay, where's this tree now? I'm sure it was here somewhere. We know the tree couldn't have moved. That's for sure. I think it might be around the next bend. To scan in and out of these thickets. Yes, it was. Was it? No, it was on the other side of the road. No, man. Must be here. Now I'm racing to find the tree. I don't understand where that tree has gone. It was overhanging. We drove underneath it. Was it before here? Was it this one? Yeah, it was somewhere along here. I just cannot remember. Was it a jackalberry? It was a jackalberry. Okay, well, we'll try and find the tree that I cannot remember where it is that had the mating rock monitors. Sydney has found some better signal, so let's go back to him.
Where? Oh, I got something here. I'm not too sure what it is. I just want to quickly check there. Can you see that, Senzo? Oh, it's a log. It's not an animal. So you can see that we are getting confused. So, but here where I am is where I am hoping to find something interesting. I did get the request about the bush babies. So the bush babies, I'm going to look for them here. So that log there, Senzo, if you can shine it, that log there, it looks like a leopard to us. Maybe it is something very interesting to share with you. So I want to show you what confused me and Senzo. Can you see it, Senzo? Yeah, look at that. You can see that it looks like a leopard from a distance. You can see. So that is a leopard log. So we thought it was a leopard. So I'm just going to carry on out here and see if we're gonna find a leopard before we finish. Okay, let's go now to Taylor, who's got one of the monitors. Not too sure if it's the rock or the water monitor.
It is definitely a rock monitor. We found the tree. Thank goodness it didn't migrate away. And there it is. Not sitting on top of the branch, but inside a crevice. Hello, where's your friend? It looks like it can barely fit. It might actually be stuck. No, I'm just joking. It's not stuck. It's exhausted. He's getting ready to go to bed now. So rock monitors are typically diurnal. You'll see them sort of more active. But of course, if there's an opportunity to feed, I suppose, on something, they will take that opportunity. Is anybody watching the dam cam? Did a hyena just walk across, or was it at the pan by any chance? The reason why I'm asking is wonderful. I just saw something backlit. Thank you, monitor. We will be back now that we know where you live. We'll come back and spend a bit more time with it maybe tomorrow night. Let's quickly go to this hyena. It was quite creepy actually, because you couldn't really see much. You just saw like the shadow thing walking, and I was like, oh, it's either a wildebeest or a hyena, and I couldn't see the whole thing of either. Oh, there, it's back at the pan again. Go swimming! Have you all been watching the hyenas swim at the pan at night? Man, we laugh in Final Control. We sit there and we cackle at the pool parties that they have. I love that they don't know that there's a camera there, that they're being watched. Oh, it's walking away now. Let's see if anybody else... Oh, buffalo is still around. They'll probably get chased off by the buffalo. No ways. We might not have a leopard to show you, but it seems as though Sydney's found something even better.
I am very lucky now with the wild dogs. I got a pack of wild dogs right on the road. You can see the little ones are playing there. It's very, very much interesting. Look at that. This is amazing. So all the wild dogs, they are just here, very relaxed right on the road. Look at that. This is beautiful. Unexpectedly, I didn't see any of their tracks. So I just saw one in the middle of the road and followed, and this one led me to the whole family. Look at this. This is amazing. Oh, it seems like that one is having something. Oh, it's a stick. So the little ones are just playing with sticks there.
Yeah, it's facing down the light. I'll push on the light. Stop.
Push up. This is beautiful. So you can see now they're up and running. They are just up and running now. They are going to, I'm sure they are going to be doing some of the hunting activity, but they're making a lot of noise. I can hear the little ones are also making noise there, so playing with the adults. Look at those ears. So Senzo, I think, is battling to shoot further. He's saying it's too dark.
Unless we have lights, just a little bit.
Okay, he just wants a little bit of, yeah. So this is beautiful. Look at that. So the other ones are at the back as well, on the other side there. So all the lights are off here as a request that we're not allowed to do the filming of the wild dogs with the lights at night. So the thing is, the camera, Senzo's camera is battling to give you the better sighting. It has been a very interesting day today with all the elephants and all the buffaloes together with the kudus and all the other antelopes that we have seen, and with the big bonus of the painted dogs, the wild dogs. And thank you very, very much for interacting with us, and thank you very much for all your questions and comments. So we are going to meet again tomorrow morning. It has been a fabulous day. So closing with the wild dogs to me is tremendous.